Brandon Aiyuk is probably on the move to either New England or the Cleveland Browns. And this is coming in fresh from all over the place. Reportedly, the Niners have the framework. This is from RS 49ers, our boy Raj. The framework of a Brandon Aiyuk trade with both of the Browns and the New England Patriots, per Matt Mayako of I think he's with, I forget what network he's with, but he is the lead beat writer for the San Francisco 49ers, essentially. He's their golden boy. So if he's reporting it, it's got to have some legs to it. Not to mention it's all over the place. This is from 49ers on NBC. If you need even more of a concrete report. This one says, breaking news, the 49ers have the framework of a Brandon Aiyuk trade in place with both the Browns and the Patriots. This coming from Matt Mayako, but definitely all over the place. Now it is up to Aiyuk to decide if he will accept either team's contract terms, which is what I've been saying for the last 48 hours. I mean, we've been saying it for months, but the last 48 hours I've been beating a dead horse on the topic that it's in Aiyuk's hands. No team's going to trade for him if he doesn't agree to a long-term extension. He has leverage. He has all the power in the world at this, juncture of the trade. Now, if he says no to the trade offers and says, hey, I want to get paid $31 million, and these teams are, both teams, the Patriots and the Browns, go, we're not giving you more than 29, and he says no and walks away, the trades are going to fall apart. I think his agent's going to be smart enough to go, look, we don't have a choice here, Aiyuk. You wanted to test your market. You wanted to get traded. We're at the tipping point here. Unless the Niner offers better, which may not even be on the table anymore. They might be like, get out of here. Then Aiyuk's got to accept the highest offer, or if he's going to accept a lower offer, he's got to go to the place he feels he'll be most happy. Maybe more, market value or whatever. But Aiyuk is in a strong position, but also a weak position in that he has to take one of these three options because his market value has been put to the test. He now knows what he's worth, and we'll see if either of these teams meet his demands. Maybe they do. This is what the compensation package is reportedly roughly looking like. The Browns would send Amari Cooper plus picks for Brandon Aiyuk, which is the most attractive offer for Niner fans because you get Amari Cooper, who is better than Aiyuk is right now. Maybe in a year that'll be different, but right now Amari Cooper is better than Aiyuk. He gives you a better chance of winning a Super Bowl right now, and you get picks, and you get $6 million in savings to apply toward the Trent Williams holdout. So it's the most beautiful trade for the Niner fans and Niner community and for the San Francisco 49ers. And frankly, it's better for Aiyuk, in my opinion, to play football in Cleveland than in New England, but both of them have their pros and cons. If Drake May's the real deal and this thing gets turned around quickly, then Aiyuk's going to get fed. If Drake May's not the real deal, or if neither rookie quarterback is the real deal, then things could go downhill for Brandon Aiyuk. But the Browns, we don't even know if Watson can stay healthy, will he even be effective. It's hard to know. But at least Cleveland's on a winning team, a team that goes to the playoffs, that has a shot because their defense is so good at being a deep-seated winning playoff team, win multiple playoff games. So Aiyuk's probably looking at the Browns as a more attractive play than the Patriots, I would guess, but I don't know. But the Patriots deal would send Kendrick Bourne plus picks to the Niners. That doesn't say, I mean, the pick part would probably be, the draft capital part would probably be a little bit more lucrative on this Patriots side than it would the Browns side because you're getting Amari Cooper. But very interesting that this is boiling down to two teams, and the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Washington Commanders are the two teams he wants to play for most. Those are the teams that came out of his mouth when asked, hey, who do you expect to play with next year? Aiyuk's response was Niners. If not the Niners, then the Commanders. If not the Commanders, then the Steelers. The Commanders and Steelers don't appear to be in the race right now. Doesn't mean they can't jump back in the 11th hour. You'll walk away from some of the best deals you ever make. There's a potential that one of these teams walked away and maybe they come back. There's also a potential that there's more than meets the eye to all this news, and there is a Commander deal being worked on because Adam Peters and Shanahan and John Lynch and everybody connected to Peters and to the Niners have this really close relationship. Maybe there's some sort of deal that's going to be ironed out in the 11th hour. As it stands right now, it does appear that the Steelers are out. It does appear they didn't potentially like the contract demands. It does feel like the news about the Washington Commanders moving on and not going down this road any further is potentially true, but again, that might change. As of right now, what we have in front of us this very moment is the Cleveland Browns and New England Patriots both have deals in the works, framework made, both of them ready to go, and it is up to Brandon Aiyuk, not the Niners, not anybody else. It's up to Brandon Aiyuk whether he wants to accept the contract terms of both of these teams, because that is what's required in order to pull the trigger. The Fantasy Football Show Draft Edition, Brandon Aiyuk Edition begins right now. File on in.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com news desk, here is your breaking news.
Here we are again, talking more Brandon Aiyuk. I do feel like we're near the end of the road, but there will be, there will be. Because if the news broke right now that he got traded, I would quit this live stream, restart, so we had a separate live that, was accurate to the description of the video. So there will be at least one more Brandon Aiyuk video. I know some of you don't want to hear that. You're so sick and tired of hearing about Brandon Aiyuk, but this may be the second to last one of this nature. Maybe not. Asan, appreciate your $2 hauler. Fantasy impact for Cooper on the Niners. Look, I think that Debo doesn't get affected because Aiyuk and Cooper are going to share similar impact to Debo's workload and all that. I think if Cooper landed on the Niners, then all of a sudden Ricky Pearsall, his 2024 potential, quick shooting up in value takes a hit than if the New England Patriot trade went down, where it's Kendrick Bourne. Ricky Pearsall goes straight into the lineup. It goes straight to the moon. If Cooper comes over, he is a starter, and now we have a 1-year potential situation where Ricky's going to, at least we know Ricky's going to be the starter in year 2, unless something weird happens with Cooper. They franchise tag him or they sign him to a long-term deal. Later, he's an older player. Drop-off is in the near future for him, but he's certainly in his prime right this second for this season. So the fantasy impact of Amari Cooper in San Francisco is far different than Kendrick Bourne or New England Patriot package. I do believe that there's been ideas kicked around that Shanahan wanted Polk or Javon Baker. He very much liked both wide receivers during the NFL draft process, but apparently from the rumors, and they could be wrong, those two receivers are not in the package, but they could be. They could be added. I don't know. The Patriots could have been told, hey, no, add in Javon Baker, or you're not going to be a part of this, and we're just going to tell Aiyuk he has one offer, the Cleveland Browns. If I'm the Niners, I'm going from Cooper to Kendrick Bourne. I'm pretty sure, and I don't know, maybe the Niners love Kendrick Bourne. I know they love him, former player, but it's night and day different. I don't want the Kendrick Bourne package. I want Javon Baker or Amari Cooper if it's me making the decisions. And if the Patriots don't want to play ball, I'd remove them from the situation and say, Aiyuk, you've got one choice. So I would just give them an ultimatum. But it's not good for Ricky Pearsall 2024 to have Amari Cooper there. It's really no different than if Aiyuk stays. But man, Ricky Pearsall goes to the moon this year if he's the starter alongside of Deebo Samuel. And some might say Jennings might get that job right away. We'll see. But Jennings is a 19-catch player from last year. 19-catch Juwan Jennings doesn't scare me at all. It would be the first round pick Ricky Pearsall in time if it wasn't right away. Cooper's value in Cleveland's probably higher than it is in San Francisco. Learning a new offense. Impact will be good. He'll be an amazing addition for the Niners. I honestly think Aiyuk, in the way things are going right now, isn't necessarily a better fit in San Francisco. I think Aiyuk is underutilized in San Francisco, hence why the Niners don't want to pay him as much as St. Brown's been getting, because they don't use him like St. Brown, hence why he's kind of complaining. If I was used properly, I'd be as good as St. Brown. We know he wouldn't. St. Brown's a whole tier above him. But Aiyuk believes that, and Aiyuk's not getting used enough to get paid like a guy like St. Brown. So Aiyuk going over to New England probably would get utilized to the degree he wants to be utilized to prove himself. Going over to Cleveland probably would get the volume he needs. I don't know what situation I like better. Probably the Cleveland Browns situation, just because I know at least there's a quarterback in place and likelihood of him getting massive amounts of targets on a good team with a good defense. It's going to have good field position. They're going to live in the red zone more. New England's just going to be on the struggle bus, but they will throw from behind in games. Maybe Drake May is on a fast track. Maybe it's tough to say, how that's going to go in New England. New England's very much in rebuild mode. They don't plan on starting Drake May in week 1 to my knowledge. So, I don't know that it's the best scenario. You got multiple quarterbacks throughout the year. Maybe there's even a bigger rotation than 2. We just don't know. We're hearing tons of good things about the second rookie on the roster. One of my favorite QBs in this draft class past the big guys is Joe Milton. And we're hearing Joe Milton's out playing Drake May. And it's take it with a grain of salt, but there's still opportunity there for him to get some looks and create some buzz. And I don't know. I've said it from the beginning of the offseason, kind of halfway joking, but why not start Joe Milton and see what you got? And if he fails, then you go to Drake May like you planned all along. It's going to be interesting if Joe Milton still looks tremendously, well walking into the coming weeks. But I don't know. I don't know what situation's better, to be honest, because the moment that Deshaun Watson goes down or folds or whatever, then what do we have? Who's throwing him the ball? How do we feel? They got a lot of QBs, but are any of them elite? DTR is the most attractive of the lot that they have, and I think he's probably 3rd or 4th in the pecking order. I just don't know what it's going to look like for Aiyuk if something goes awry with Deshaun Watson. Will Watson even utilize him enough? It's tough to say. A lot of impact, and I was really hoping we'd see a Steelers, for the sake of Fields, for the sake of that team marching down the field more often, giving Fields opportunities to score, and I do think Fields will win the job, and if he doesn't, he'll have it very soon. I was hoping for that. I was hoping for a Washington Commander, give Jaden Daniels his best friend, and let these guys cook together situation. I was hoping for one of those two situations. I hope that one of them comes circling back in the 11th hour and snatches the opportunity away from the Cleveland Browns, like the Cleveland Browns did that to the Atlanta Falcons with the Deshaun Watson situation. But thank God Deshaun Watson didn't end up in Atlanta, because we got Penix Jr. and Cousins doing damage under Zach Robinson and this entire staff over there. Going to be an amazing year for the Atlanta Falcons. But as of this moment, Aiyuk is going to be a Brown, a Patriot, or remain in San Francisco. Phone lines are open.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Dial in to the show, to the Addict.shop phone lines, and we'll be drafting here shortly. If anybody would like to draft with us tonight, if you want to draft with us tonight, hit this link, do it live, smash the link. It inserts code Smitty for you. You get a special pick in your account. You'll also get 50% match on your first deposit at Underdog by just hitting that link or using code Smitty. Much easier to just hit the link because it inserts code Smitty for you. But we'll be drafting here shortly on Underdog and talking about Aiyuk as we go. But the phone lines will be open for just really the rest of the night. But we'll be attacking phone calls before we draft. So get signed up, will you? Hit that link. Let me pin the link in the live chat. I think it's already pinned. So hit that pin link or the link I just dropped. Get signed up and ready. Once the Underdog app is open, you'll just kind of wait and see. I'll tell you when to jump in to a draft with me. What we'll do is we'll pull up the Underdog app together, and I'll say swipe over to we'll do a Best Ball Mania, $25 entry, $1.5 million to first place. So if you want to get ready, just swipe on over to that card and await instructions. I'll tell you when to click on the green button when it's time to jump. Let's go over to Travis Rowe. Travis Rowe, what is up, my guy?
What's going on, Smitty? How you doing?
Oh, God. You know, Travis from Orlando, you don't listen very well, bro. You just don't. You're always calling in and you're arguing. I say Travis Rowe knowing that you're going to speak and say, well, he said Travis Rowe, so it must be me, Travis from Orlando. So I'm just going to speak over Travis Rowe and start arguing with Smitty already. You know, why don't you just go ahead? Why don't you just go ahead and complain about something and get it off your chest, and then I can go to Travis Rowe. Go ahead, Travis from Orlando, or the anti-Travis is what I think we'll call you. Go ahead. Go ahead. What can I dunk on you about tonight?
You said Aiyuk isn't as good as St. Brown? Are you serious?
Aiyuk isn't as good as what?
St. Brown. You said he was a tier below St. Brown.
Don't. You're embarrassing. You're embarrassing yourself. You're embarrassing yourself.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
You hear the high voice? You hear how he's got the high voice? He doesn't even know. Who wants to tell him? Here, I'll tell you what. I'm not going to answer this. I'm going to read the chat. Chat, this guy called in and said, are you serious? You think that St. Brown's better than Aiyuk? I'm going to read the chat messages to you, and that's all I'm going to do. I'm not going to give you the time of day to answer that or to argue this and waste my time, this valuable time. People are here. I'm saving lives right here with these live streams. And here you call in and waste my time with this ridiculous St. Brown better than Aiyuk. Let me just read what everyone's saying.
1,300 yards on 75 receptions.
Once you listen to the chat, I'm going to read every single one.
That's ridiculous.
Aiyuk, hold on.
No one does that.
Are you ready? Are you listening? Because every single person in here is going to disagree with you. You will not have one person of sound mind agreeing with you. You're getting laughed at. Okay, let me read this off.
Why? The numbers say he's a better receiver. The number, it's just it's production. It's not me. It's not even an opinion.
What is he saying? What is he saying? Bro, you don't even know what you're saying right now. Hold on, Travis from Orlando. Let me just read. You're getting clowned on, bro. Everyone's just laughing at you. Okay, here we go. Let me read this, because, good God. Aiyuk is an average NFL wide receiver. Let's see. Is he for real? It's wild. You don't know ball, Travis.
This is why when
you don't know ball, bro.
So he can get his respect. Because the reason he doesn't get his respect is because everybody blames it on.
You don't know ball. I'm sorry, but you don't know ball. You don't. If you think Aiyuk, bro, if you think Aiyuk is anywhere near St. Brown, you don't know football. You just don't. Everybody in here knows this.
He's outproduced St. Brown every year he's ever played.
You hear this guy? He doesn't even know what he's saying. Guy needs to take a lap. Aiyuk had a better year last year. Josh is with you. There's probably 8 to 10 wide receivers. There's probably 8 to 10 wide receivers between St. Brown and Aiyuk. Bro, you're getting clowned on. Girls will say Aiyuk is better than Amon-Ra. St. Brown says Will. They're very different. Not fair to compare them. No one said.
I kind of agree with that.
Aiyuk would not have held up under the punishment St. Brown took. Someone says you got to be playing. You're not serious. If Aiyuk was like St. Brown, he would have 2 rings. Purdy makes Aiyuk look better. This is more about war on drugs, says Thomas. This guy cackles like Kamala, says Dave. Aiyuk can't sniff St. Brown. Bro, Aiyuk equals Devonta Smith or Adams. Aiyuk is garbage material. Aiyuk might just be Mount Rushmore wide receiver at this point, says Kenobi. Bro, legend has it. If you say St. Brown 3 times. Yeah, let me show you this.
Legend has it if you say St. Brown 3 times in the dark in the bathroom, you will immediately lose your league.
Look, at the risk of wasting my time, let me just say this loud and clear. You ever call into my show again and say something as ridiculous as Aiyuk is better than St. Brown, I'm not answering. Okay? Because you're wasting my time. You're wasting my time. You're wasting my time. Aiyuk doesn't hold a candle. Aiyuk doesn't hold. Let me make this point abundantly clear to you. Not only is St. Brown better, Aiyuk doesn't hold a candle to him, bro. They're not even in the same tier. You're out of your mind with this one.
St. Brown wouldn't even say that. St. Brown wouldn't even say that. He's all right. I mean, he's haven't produced.
Bro, you're out of. Can you talk about something sound? Because you're embarrassing yourself. You're absolutely embarrassing yourself. Go ahead, regular Travis. Talk to anti-Travis. Talk some sense into him before I hang up on him. I just can't deal with this guy. Every day he's calling in with some ridiculous take. Absolutely, this is the worst take I've ever heard on the show.
You're want to hear this? St. Brown had 44 more catches than him, I believe.
44 more catches?
Receptions. Yeah.
119 receptions, right? Receptions. I had 75 receptions and had 1,300 yards. Way less receptions than Amon-Ra. And it's not because Aiyuk isn't open. It's
why does your voice get so high? Why is your voice getting so high? Calm down. Calm down. You don't even have a point.
I'm just saying,
you don't even have a point. You're not even.
Yes,
no one agrees. No one agrees with you. There's no reason to have your voice go. There's no reason for your voice to hit octaves we've never heard before on this channel. I don't have a limiter on your mic. Like, stop going up so high, and you're getting all excited. It's a ridiculous argument, bro. This is a ridiculous argument. You're embarrassing yourself. You're embarrassing yourself.
I mean, he's never been the guy. Like last year, the Lions, that was Amon-Ra's team as far as the receiving core. So yeah, he's gonna have more receptions, but Aiyuk has produced with less receptions. That's why I hope he gets traded so he gets to be the guy and he can finally. There's no excuses. Oh, it's not because McCaffrey. It's not because of Debo. He's just one of those guys. He's one of the top receivers in the league. So clearly that's why he wants to get paid like it, because he has the numbers to prove it. You know, like clearly if he got more receptions, yards would be. If he got as many receptions as Amon-Ra, he would have way higher numbers.
It's not that easy. You don't just get to stretch everything out and pretend. This isn't a game of pretending. Hey, he's as good as St. Brown, because if he didn't have 70-something receptions and he actually got a lot of them, he'd be better. Bro, you want to make a art. Listen, let me tell you something. If you called in here, especially if you didn't have your track record of ridiculousness when you call in, but if you called in here and said something like, hey, I know Aiyuk hasn't proven it, okay, St. Brown has dominated Aiyuk in stats. Like, stop you with your ridiculous claim that Aiyuk had a better. Like, stop, bro. You're embarrassing yourself.
I like St. Brown better.
Can you hold on? I'm gonna hang up on you. Be quiet. Be quiet while I finish my point. Be quiet while I finish. Okay, you can have one more chance. Be quiet while I finish my point. It'd be one thing if you dialed in and said, "Hey, I know he hasn't proven it yet. I know St. Brown's absolutely, head and shoulders above him in everyone's mind." But I believe if he gets into a situation where he can be leaned on, I think he's going to surprise some people, and I think he could be better than St. Brown. You would have at least a respect to say, this guy's got a bold take. I disagree with him, but we can't say that, if Amon-Ra went here and if he went here. But you're literally acting shocked, and you call into the show and say, did you just say that St. Brown's better than Aiyuk? That's a completely different take, and is laughable and ridiculous.
Okay, I agree. I could have came in a little bit different with it. It's not a completely ridiculous claim. Like, obviously, Amon-Ra's put up better numbers than my whole point was the efficiency. And I get it. I get what you're saying. I could have came at it a different way. You're right. For sure.
You came at it from a way as if you had a point and you didn't. If you want to
I
say,
do.
if
He
you want to,
outproduced him.
he didn't
from efficiency
outproduce
point, he
him.
outproduced him
Stop
by a lot.
saying he outproduced him. Stop saying it, because it's like saying the sun didn't come up today, Smitty. You could keep saying it, but it doesn't
He
mean it's
averaged
true.
More yards.
It doesn't
more
mean
yards
it's
per
true.
reception.
It doesn't mean it's true. You keep saying it. It doesn't mean it's true. He didn't outproduce him. Stop.
17.9 yards per reception versus 12.7. That's kind of significant.
You don't know football. You're just admitting you don't know football, bro. That's all you're doing.
How is that not important?
Because do you understand that they're different receivers? Do you understand that they catch different routes? Do you understand that he plays a different role in his offense, catches a lot of short yardage passes? Do you understand that it's half system? Do you get that not everything's about yards per catch? Like, you're talking about one stat.
He has a better route tree, though.
What are you talking about, bro? Bro, if St. Brown heard you right now, he would reach into this phone and, oh my God.
He can't play at an X.
Bro.
Like, he's never,
Stop.
he can't play at X.
Bro,
like
stop.
That. He can't
Stop.
press
Stop.
man.
Stop.
So,
Enough. You're embarrassing yourself. You're embarrassing yourself so much. I'm embarrassed for you. I feel really embarrassed of myself right now just by hearing you.
Amon Ra isn't known for his route running. He wins a different way. I agree with you. That's fact. That's 100% true. He wins a different way. But as far as being a receiver, I say Amon Ra. Amon Ra is probably he's a better football player. But as far as being a receiver, I'm gonna give it to.
Finish him.
Just because he has more yards per reception.
Call terminated.
No.
That's the only thing.
I couldn't take it anymore. Go, Travis. You're live. You're ridiculous. It's like talking to a rock.
I mean, the worst part is he's making it so.
I'm embarrassed.
If someone just dropped in, out of nowhere, they'd think we don't like Aiyuk, but it's like that's not what it is. We're literally just telling the obvious, And someone in the chat said, St. Brown doesn't block, Aiyuk does. St. Brown blocks. Aiyuk is a great blocker, but St. Brown's an amazing blocker too. He's very good at blocking.
Yeah. Anyway.
Let's talk.
Let's get back to reality because he's hijacking the whole point of this live stream.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Just this is like when someone comes in and starts talking about Brock Purdy being. I mean, it's just Niner takes, right? I get it. He says he's not a Niner fan, I think, but he obviously is. That's like somebody saying like Josh Allen's not as good as Brock Purdy, or Jalen Hurts isn't as good as Brock Purdy, or Mahomes isn't as good as Brock Purdy, or I think in a Niner chat with Raj and those boys, I said something like AR5 is going to be top 5 or whatever, and they're like, oh my God, AR5, he's horrible. He's not going to win a game. Like they have no clue JD5, is going to be. Okay. God, I feel ashamed of myself. Just for even having that conversation take place as long as it did. Go ahead.
I was calling in just to say it just seems odd to me that the 49ers would. I mean, obviously the Patriots would have to be giving up more draft capital. I can't imagine them giving up the first round pick, but
yeah.
So it would have to be like a second or a future first or whatever. And on top of that, I can't imagine why they would. I mean, I guess because he's a developed receiver, but why they would want Bourne over one of the young like Pope. But so yeah. I mean, they have to prefer the Cleveland deal. But it may just be that if he doesn't decide to sign with Cleveland, they'll take the New England deal.
Yeah, I'd probably say something along the lines of like, yeah, the New England Patriot deal has to have way more draft capital, but maybe it doesn't. I don't know. Tough to say, but I don't know it's going to be like a first and second round difference though. I don't think it's going to be that big. Maybe it includes a third, a second and a third. Maybe it includes a second and a fourth. versus just Amari Cooper in a
Yeah.
third.
I mean, the Patriots' second-round pick is going to be in the 30s, so it isn't far off from a like if the Cleveland Browns were a playoff team and they have it in the 20s and they gave up their first round. I guess it's not that far off. First pick in the 20s versus pick in the 30s, so. But Cooper is just such a better piece on board.
Robert, you think Mahomes is better than Purdy? Laughing emojis. You can't be serious, Robert. I think Robert's maybe playing on that, but Robert, let me know if that's true, and if it is, I can put. Yeah, if he's serious about it, I can put it on the the Planet Uranus board, because that would be the worst comment ever in the history of the show. He's got to be joking. I'm pretty sure he's joking. Okay, so tell me if you aren't joking, because you'll be number one on the board. I'm pretty sure he's joking. But yeah, I tough to say like what's gonna go down here. I kind of feel like if I'm Aiyuk, if I get in Ayuk's head and I start to say let's say the contracts are the same. And they might not be. Maybe the place he wants to go more is a lesser contract offer. But I imagine, one team's going to back out if the contract offers are far apart. And he says, look, I'm getting this over here. And they go, yep, well, we're out. And they back out or something. But I'd probably say if it's me and I'm Aiyuk, I want to go to Cleveland before I want to go to New England on the surface level. And I'm not saying it's the right long-term decision, because I do think Drake May's got upside. I do think Deshaun Watson's not the guy. But I think if you're Aiyuk, and I'm just trying to get in Ayuk's head, I'm not trying to say what I would do at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I think Aiyuk is going to say playoff team, one of the top defenses in the league. Underrated Deshaun Watson, getting a lot of hate. I like that. I like his tenacity, and players admire that kind of I don't know, story, in inner circle, like it seems like he gets support where you think he shouldn't, but it seems like players like Deshaun Watson and they believe in him. And you got Njoku there. That's he's had Kittle, somebody to kind of help pull defenses away, defensive attention away. You've got, I'm sure he respects the hell out of Nick Chubb. Everybody should. But I don't think he won't have the insider knowledge to know that Chubb's never going to return to form. But he probably thinks he could. He probably just looks at this whole team and says, look, I could win a Super Bowl here. And you got to remember, too, in his mind, part of this is about getting money. Part of it is about getting respect. And part of that respect is like, can I stick it to my former team? Because if you're in a impasse with think about any time you've ever left a job and it's been kind of rough when you left, the last thing in the world you want to do is go somewhere and have them watch you fail. So, and I know you're a Patriot fan, Travis, so I'm not trying to rub you the wrong way on this one. But I just think that on the surface level, and I think you've even admitted it feels like a rebuild year for New England, he's going to look like he failed if he goes over to New England. They're rotating quarterbacks. They don't have Drake May in there until week 5, week 4, and that things aren't going good all year, and he's not being utilized. I think if he goes to Cleveland and he thinks he can put on a huge playoff run and help them get over the top, right? I'm the guy that's going to get them over the top. We pull up last year's playoff bracket. This was last year. He's looking at this team saying, I can get them into this range right here. Maybe I can face off against my former team. I believe he chooses the Cleveland Browns. All that said, it's hard for me to say because this is not one of the two spots he wanted to go. He wanted to go to Washington. He wanted to go to Pittsburgh. And he's not getting either one of those, so I don't know.
Another thing to go to your point is that you've talked about it, how you've given an example of a player for the Cardinals that you talked to. These players don't always quite know what other players are at. He may think Deshaun Watson is Deshaun Watson from 2019, 2020.
He
may think Nick Chubb is Nick Chubb with 2 good knees, and go, oh, these guys are great. Because I'm not saying he's dumb, but like you said, these players are not all the way tuned into this stuff, whether it's because they're, worrying about their own career, their own team, whatever.
Yeah, they aren't dialed in at all.
They
really aren't. It's like an actor.
Right.
Like, hey, how's the movie you just filmed? Like, I don't know. They pieced it. We filmed it in pieces. I have no idea what it's about. You're like, really? Like, as a viewer, we're confused by that. We're like, how does an actor not know if the movie's good? They see it from such a different angle. These players are in the middle of everything. You say Tyreek Hill answered the question, who are the top 5 quarterbacks? He said Baker Mayfield was one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league. Then when he got clowned all over social media, he backed off it and said, I like to cause controversy. No, you didn't. You just screwed up. You didn't know, and you said it, and now you're trying to save face by saying it was a joke. These players really don't know the talent levels across the league. And you can't blame them too much because they're embedded in their little microcosm. They don't watch all the games like we do. They don't absorb all the news like we do. They're focused at work all day long, and they have no clue what's going on around them. So let me answer these super chats real quick. Dude from Orlando, they don't play football there. Hassan says Aiyuk ain't as far off as you make it seem, Smitty. Maybe not. Maybe he's got the potential, but like I said, Hassan, you can't come in here, not you, but anybody, and say and act like what I said was crazy. Keep in mind the perspective he brought to the phone call. His perspective was, did you just say St. Brown's better than Aiyuk? And he was laughing and going crazy on it. He has all the proving to do. Aiyuk has barely done it. St. Brown has done it longer. And he's clearly better at football right now than Aiyuk. Aiyuk has barely scratched the surface. But if you want to argue that Aiyuk can get there, that's a whole different argument. But to come in here and cackle and laugh and have your voice go to the rafters and max out my red line on the microphone levels over and over and over with his cackle on how ridiculous it is to have St. Brown over Aiyuk. Hassan, I think you're looking at it from a different angle than you should be, because that's what he brought to the argument, not me. If he would have come in and said, look, I think he's going to surprise you once he gets a shot, he could climb into that tier and be right there with him. That is a whole different thing. He didn't do that. He made it sound like I'm off base. I'm misguiding my followers and everybody that's a subscriber to this channel because I like St. Brown over Aiyuk. What a wild take, Smitty. Like, that's not it. You can't do that. You can do that, but you'll get hung up on. What?
Look at Underdog. Look at Underdog where they're being drafted. Amon-Ra St. Brown's being drafted as wide receiver 5.
But that's because
wide receiver 16.
But that's because
there's 11 guys in between.
I know. Well, you can't argue with someone that's not listening. So I don't know. I tried to let the chat do it. All right, Best Ball Mania. Okay, click on the Best Ball Mania. I'm not going to click the green button yet. Open it up. Let it sit there. The green button should be right in front of you. The link is pinned in the live chat. If you want to get in on this underdog draft, we're doing it now. Okay, here we go. Click the green button on the Best Ball Mania. Jump in. Do it live. These spots will go quickly. And if you don't get into this draft, that's okay. You can get into the next one. It's going to fill up really quickly because you guys are absolute monsters. And looks like we got 2 more to fill it. 1 more to fill it. And it is filled. It looks like I got the 6th spot. Perfect placement for St. Brown. Where might we see Aiyuk go? Let's see how off Smitty is. It's so wild, bro. What's more shocking is that a couple people in the chat, I didn't expect 1 or 2. A couple people in the chat are like, I kind of like Aiyuk. They're just wild to me. It's so wild. It's so wild. Anyway, hopefully we got news tomorrow on Brandon Aiyuk, and we'll know where he's going. I will say this: if he go, and I didn't really let you respond yet, Travis, but if he goes to New England, he doesn't have better value in New England than he does right now in San Francisco. Would you agree with that?
No, of course not. His value, I mean, he'll still be solid. Like Brissett is a good deep ball guy. He'll be able to get the ball to him, but obviously Brissett isn't on that. I mean, he's a good backup quarterback, you know. But
now, what about
he's
Cleveland?
Not even close to parity.
Cleveland, is he as valuable in Cleveland as he is in San Francisco in your mind?
I don't think so, because I'm not so sure what Watson is. Until we know what Watson is, I can't really. I'm going to have trouble judging that. Because, I guess he's more valuable than he would be in New England, but, do you disagree? What's your take on that?
Man, I think at the end of the day...
Watson's had shoulder problems. He hasn't looked good. He had a little stretch where he started to come around, but then he just got hurt again.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I kind of feel like this is the way I look at it. I'm on deck here. Oh, I'm on the clock now. Let me switch over. I'm going to go back and forth because I don't like to just sit on the draft side. I want to have conversations. I want to. I'm on Roz there, but so is Jamar Chase. So I'm taking Jamar Chase. I'm not going to let this petty argument with I would say not rational thinking make me pass on Jamar Chase just to make a point and grab St. Brown. I wanted to grab St. Brown so bad, just to get him on the board here, just to get him on the board here. I want someone take Aiyuk right now to also prove a point. Okay, so this is the pecking order for me. This is how I see it. I think that, okay, first of all, if Aiyuk leaves and Cooper doesn't head to San Francisco, this man goes to the mother freaking moon. If Deebo Samuel on screen. If Amari Cooper does go to San Francisco, it doesn't change too much because Cooper and Aiyuk are going to probably see similar volumes in the Niners offense. Cooper could be even held back a little bit like Aiyuk was, which should have been the point that anti-Travis should have made. That like, hey, maybe he'll. But at the end of the day, I think when we're talking Aiyuk, of these three spots, San Francisco, New England, Cleveland alone, those are the only ones we're talking about. His value's highest in San Francisco. His value's second highest in Cleveland. And I don't think it's that much far behind because he's the number one for that team versus the number two in San Francisco. So I'm going to say it might even be even. The only thing that's going to be a problem is him getting versed in the offense and learning it, and changing teams is not easy. And it's hard to know how it's all going to shake out. So,
don't you think he'll get more than 75 catches in Cleveland? So that could be a boost.
Yeah. I mean, there is a world where he goes up in Cleveland. But he's also got a high injury risk regardless of whether he signs tonight or tomorrow because he's been holding out. I mean, his injury risk goes through the roof. His rapport isn't going to be there yet. He's got to learn a new system, new offense. It's going to take some time. He's going to have some bumps in the road. Wide receivers don't translate perfectly every time. It's not going to be an easy thing. So, but I would say that the Niners and Cleveland are close. I think New England is a level down. I think, unfortunately, New England is a level down. Bill the Tickler's on the phone. And Rock Out. Let me go to Rock Out first. Marsman Rock Out, you've been sitting there so patiently. What is up, and what did you think about anti-Travis and his take of St. Brown crapping all over St. Brown like that?
I think it's ridiculous. I do agree. Aiyuk could be better in a better situation, but he hasn't done it. And St. Brown is finished like top 3. Can Aiyuk be like maybe top 12 if he's in a good situation? Probably, but 3 to 12 is a whole different story.
Yeah. I mean, some people say St. Brown could be the number one wide receiver in fantasy football, in 2024. I cannot draft him that high, but that's why I thought the chat was going to go a little bit more ballistic than it did. And maybe it will in the replay, and there weren't some of those diehards in here, but St. Brown's got a diehard fan club that they love him at like 1, 2, 3 overall for wide receivers. So it to me was wild, a wild accusation. I just can't. I'm still laughing at it. This Neighbors pick ain't bad here. Damn, this is tough. I'm starting to like Neighbors in the third. I mean, he looks really good today. I admit he looks fantastic. We can't take him in round 2. That's my line in the sand is mid third. I'll take him mid third and I'm fine with it. Especially when you get down right now. And I like Mike Evans. He's done it for years, but I'm gonna pump the brakes on Mike Evans this year. I just have a bad feeling. DJ Moore, pumping the brakes on that. Stephon Diggs, Pittman, Flowers, Pickens. I think Neighbors is perfect there. I would have taken Tank Dell over him. I would have taken DK over him. I would have taken Devontae Smith over him. Brandon Aiyuk, there's the man of the hour going in the third round. I don't know. I feel like I'm in Bizarro World, even having some people, very minute amount of people were like, well, I don't know. I still feel in Bizarro World that we're having that conversation. But rock out. Anything else real quickly before I go to Bill? I'm not hanging up on you, but
So you think Browns have the best chance of getting him if he agreed to it?
Yeah, I think so. Because I think if the deals were, let's say the deals were a little bit low, they're a little bit low ball offers. I love that 11 spot. Garrett Wilson, MHJ, Travis Kelce, and Mahomes. That's fantastic. That's kind of like the team I built the other night. If both offers are $28 million, and he's been wanting 30, and the Niners offered him 28. So let's say all the deals are the same. The Niners deal was $28 million, same guaranteed money, and let's say Aiyuk gets handed the same exact contract by the Browns and by the Patriots. He's probably burned his bridges in San Francisco, and if he's got to accept a deal, he's probably, in my opinion, he's probably going to say, give me the team that can hand me the best chance to win a championship. And I do believe firmly that Cleveland's got a better shot, obviously. I mean, they made it to the playoffs last year. So I think it's a pretty... Let me see what I'm going to do. I'll go ETN here. It's a pretty good team. I got Jamar Chase, Kyron, Malik Neighbors, ETN. It's pretty good.
Haven't they said the Browns and the Patriots will pay more than $30 million though?
We've heard that. We just don't know. I'm just saying if all the offers came in the same to match the Niners, he's kind of going to be I've already burned my bridges here in San Francisco. I might as well just, and I think he's going to choose the winning team. But you never know. Yeah. You never know. What if the Patriots pay him 30, the Browns are paying him 29, and the Niners are paying him 29? He probably is going to go play for the team that's going to pay him 30, but I don't know.
I think the Patriots are going to go possibly over 30. I think they're going to overpay.
They might need to. I mean, look, you invested in May.
I think they're at that spot.
Yeah. Yeah. And bro, maybe
if they
Aiyuk turns May into a much quicker, success story.
Well, that's a reason to overpay. You overpay for him because it helps May, and if you can hold that first round pick, you have a top 10 pick to take a good left tackle with next year.
Yeah.
And that's what you do with the rebuild.
479 caller, you're live, but I'm going to put you on hold real quickly. But what's your name and where are you calling from? 479.
This is Yellow Boy calling from Texas.
Yellow from Texas. All right, hang tight, man. Mute yourself real quick, and I'm going to go to Bill the Tickler and back to you. Bill the Tickler, you're live. Hello.
Hey, Smitty.
What's up, Bill?
Hey, Smitty. Am I there? Am I live? Hello.
Yes.
Hello. So I've been heard you talking. I know you spit the true stats of Zay Flowers, Lamar Jackson, and he's never had a top. What do you say? 30 receiver.
Yeah.
Top. But you know, could this be the year? Could this be the year where he doubles down and Zay Flowers and Lamar are the pair to have?
Let me put it in restaurant terms, since you're in the restaurant business, okay? Let's say you've never Bill the Tickler. Everyone, Bill the Tickler. Why do they call you Bill the Tickler? Every once in a while we get a laugh out of them, but it doesn't always. It comes natural. But let's say in the restaurant business, you've never served 1,000 people in one day. You've served 800, okay, but you've never hit 1,000, okay? Never. Got the same cook in the kitchen, chef. Got the same staff. You feel like you're doing pretty well, right? And you're improving. And all the surrounding restaurants are doing 1,000 a night, but you're at 800. And you go in there and you take away 3 tables from your restaurant. And then you say, is this the year we're going to serve 1,000 people? I think putting Derrick Henry in this offense and trying to run more than you ever have is not putting you in a better position to do what you've never done, which is produce a top 30 wide receiver. I know Zay's getting better, but this is not the year that this would happen, in my opinion, when you're leaning toward the run more than you ever have. That's just my take on it. I could be wrong. I'm not saying that Zay doesn't slip into the 22, 23, 24 range, but I certainly don't feel like this is like a guy that should be going in the 3rd round, which is where a lot of people are taking him way too early in like the 3rd round. Go ahead, Bill. You're up.
No, valid point. So then move on. So then I go Josh Allen, Kincaid, Curtis Samuel, Keon Coleman. Can that win me a league with other running backs around what I just?
For sure. I draft that entire Bills offense. And
but three months ago, it was like, oh, he's got nobody to throw to, and now Smitty, you convinced me of, you know, the no-name offense with Josh Allen is maybe the way to win a league.
Have you seen the Wild Wild West yet, Bill?
Yes, Smitty, yeah. I don't always live, but I always watch.
The top most wanted outlaw.
Yeah. Wanted.
'Cause they're wanted, dead or alive.
Yeah.
Dead or alive.
Coleman's going to the moon, pal. He's going to the moon. He's going to be so special. I love the haters. I love that people think he's not good. I love that I'm arguing every single day with people left and right about this situation. It makes me happy. It makes me very, very happy. Let's see. Jameson. I guess I'll go Jameson here. So my team so far is as follows. Jamar Chase, Kyron Williams, Malik Neighbors, Travis Etienne, CJ Stroud. That's an unbelievable 5. Not doing any stacking really, but it's okay because I'm drafting best player available. I'm pretty happy with it. Jamar Chase, Kyron, Malik Neighbors, Travis Etienne, CJ Stroud, Kenneth Walker, Jameson Williams. That's a great team. Where did Keon Coleman go in this draft? Who sniped him like the... Somebody take him really early. Okay, 6th round. Not the end of the world. Just make sure we don't push him into 5, guys. Don't push him into 5.
Early.
Don't push him into 5. 6 is already early enough. But J-Mo's looking damn good. This team's getting sweet. This team is getting nice. All right, hey, hold on, Bill. Let me go over to Yellow from Texas and then over to Sebastian. Yellow, you're live, pal.
What's up, Smitty?
What's up?
I got about 3-4 trades I need your opinion on.
Put me to work tonight. Let's rapid fire. Go.
All right. I traded Travis Kelce and David Montgomery for Ja'Marr Chase and Goddard.
Ja'Marr Chase.
What do you think about that? You like that one?
Say that one more time.
I traded Travis Kelce and David Montgomery for Ja'Marr Chase and Dallas Goedert.
You're right.
You're good.
You're cracking me up, bro. Yeah, I think. Can you repeat it one more time? I'm sorry, bro. You were saying David Montgomery in such a unique way that it keeps throwing me off, and I don't listen to the rest of it. Okay, you got Chase. Say it one more time, bro.
Chase and Goddard for Kelce and Montgomery.
Okay, Kelce. I like it. Let's see here. Yeah. So.
Like that?
Oh yeah, I like that.
Did I win?
I think
Did I win?
You won. Ja'Marr Chase over Monty all day, and honestly, Kelce Goddard. It's the gap between those two are not close enough that I'm taking that Chase side all day long. That the Montgomery. I like the way you say Montgomery, bro. Say it one more time, Montgomery.
David Montgomery.
You're saying it different now. But anyway, what's the next one, bro?
Nico and Curran Williams for Bijan and Calvin Ridley. I got Bijan. I got rid of Nico and Curran for Bijan and Ridley.
That one's tougher because I love Kyron Williams and Nico's still got a lot of time left. Calvin Ridley's he's got 1-2 years left max, and Bijan's a beast. But I guess I would take the Bijan side by a hair. I would have tried somehow, some way to do a different deal, but damn, I mean, you can't pass on Bijan. I mean, he's literally the top 1 to 3 overall player. I love Kyron. If you cuffed Kyron, I think I'd probably reject it if it was Corm and Kyron and Nico, though, but that would be a little different. But straight up, this situation, Bijan to the moon, bro. I like it at the end of the day. I think, especially if you have a little bit of depth, that's the move.
I got rid of Najee for Keon Coleman. What you think about that?
Najee, yes. Keon Coleman to the moon, bro.
Nice.
I like that a lot.
To the moon.
You're smashing it, bro. Smashing.
I got rid of Herbert.
Good.
I got rid of the rookie wide receiver for LA. What's his name? McConkey.
Yeah.
And then the rookie running back, Vidal.
Vidal, yep.
I packaged all three of them in, and dude sent me back Jerome Ford and Wicks, the young receiver for Green Bay. That wasn't a powerful trade, but Herbert got hurt.
Well, who's your quarterback? Who's your quarterback now that you did that?
I got Patrick.
You got Patty. Did you know that Patrick Mahomes called into the show last night?
I missed that.
Yeah, it was fake Patrick Mahomes, but it was still Patrick Mahomes nonetheless.
Okay.
Let me see if I can find that. Hold on. It's pretty good. Here, Patrick Mahomes dialed in last night. Here you go.
Yeah, sorry, it's on a delay because I'm watching the stream.
You sound like Patrick Mahomes, bro. Is this Pat?
Dude, I've heard this before.
Hold on. Say this is Patrick Mahomes. You're watching the Fantasy Football Show.
This is Patrick Mahomes. You're watching the Fantasy Football Show.
Yes. I agree.
Yeah, that was a fluke, Mahomes.
that was the deep fake Patrick Mahomes. He called straight in.
AI.
Not even.
Man.
Yeah. We're getting up there. We're getting popular.
And then, my last trade, Smitty, I traded Tajee Spears and Chris Godwin for Tank Dell. I needed some space on my roster.
Tajee Spears. Say it again. Tajee Spears and what?
Chris Godwin for
Tank Dell.
Tank Dell.
You just take advantage of people now. You're just showing off.
Okay, so let me ask you this then. Since I'm showing off, I heard you say yesterday you talked real bad about Yahoo, man. What's going on, man? You don't like Yahoo?
Yahoo? How come you can say Yahoo like very clearly, but you can't say Montgomery? People say Yahoo. I would have thought you would have said Yahoo. I don't know. Like, what's so great about Yahoo? Why am I offending you on that one?
I don't know. Well, that's what I started with back in like 2015. My brother introduced me to fantasy football, and I've been on Yahoo ever since he introduced me to him.
Yeah. Look, there's nothing wrong with it. I play like Miss Smitty's work league has been on Yahoo. I think I played another one, and then ESPN. I think what it is we talk about the ADPs. It's not about the platform, really. You know, there's not. They're all kind of similar. It's actually fun to play on Yahoo and ESPN as a player, but commissioning really hard to commission on Yahoo. Very bad settings, hard to change anything. ESPN's even worse. But playing on the platform is pretty fun. But the ADP suck. They absolutely blow.
Yeah, man. I got Keon Coleman, and like I heard you talking about him yesterday. I got Keon Coleman in like the 9th round in one league, the 11th round in another league.
Yeah. So again, let me clarify for those that are getting really, I guess, bent out of shape over that. Like people could defend their platform. Wow. People in the chat, Yahoo is fun to play on. I don't mind playing on it. The rankings suck. Like meaning that the suggested rank, it jacks up the entire draft. You know, you're used to this, you're used to that. And you go into Yahoo and yeah, there's some deals, but there's also some players that are driven up on the board and you're like, what is going on here? I remember last year we're getting Kamara in the 6th, 7th, and 8th rounds. And I think it was Yahoo and ESPN where he was going like in the 4 or 5 turn as if nothing had happened, you know, with his offseason.
Right.
So, all right. Hey, hang tight for me, bro. If you want to stay on the phone line, you can. Just mute yourself if you could. Sebastian, you are live. Good job on your trades there, Yellow. You smashed that.
Go.
You smashed your leagues into a million pieces. Everybody, standing ovation for Yellow. And can you say Montgomery for us one more time? Everybody loves how you say Montgomery.
David Montgomery.
That's not it. You were doing it so much different last time. It was amazing. You're trying too hard now. All right. Yellow.
To the moon.
Yup.
Sebastian, your line.
Hey, Smitty. I've just been looking at the whole Aiyuk situation, and honestly, I think he's a fade. Like, even if he goes to Washington at this point, because I mean, this holdout's been going on for way too long, and I'm just worried about injury, even if he does end up in the best case scenario.
For sure.
So I'm calling my shot right now. I don't care where he goes or if he's a 49er. I'm gonna keep him at 2% exposure and just leave it at that.
He's a total injury risk, 100%. I mean, this is why I say it every day, Sebastian. You're preaching to the choir. But I'm not saying I don't like him.
100% agree with you.
I'm not saying that I don't like him. I'm not saying he's not a good player. But, you know, name a receiver or running back or anything. Let me put this caller on hold real quick. 801 caller, where are you calling from, 801, and what is your name, pal?
My name is John. I'm calling from Utah.
John from Utah. Just mute yourself real quick. I'll be right with you, pal.
Okay.
John from Utah. Thank you. So, you know, name, and I'm not trying to like play catch you, or I'm not saying that you can't list a name. I'm trying to think of it. I'm legitimately trying. There might be somebody. I just can't think of it. Can anybody name a player that held out like Debo did, held out like Aiyuk did? And granted, we got Jamar Chase and CeeDee Lamb in the same boat, heading in the same direction. So I guess I'm going to turn the question on you in a second, so you might want to prepare your answer, Sebastian. Why are you still drafting Jamar Chase number 1 overall? Because you got the same holdout situation going. But I would say I can't think of very many scenarios where somebody is out of football this long, comes back, and doesn't have something go, you know, haywire.
No, I mean, I started to pull back on my Chase shares because of that.
Okay,
I'm
at
starting
least
to
you're
lean more.
consistent. Yeah.
What's that?
That's consistent. Then I'm glad to hear you be consistent about it.
Oh yeah, 100%. Just because he's a better talent doesn't mean he's immune to the situation. I mean, he has his own injury risk, but like if all else is equal, I do think that Chase is the best wide receiver in the NFL for 2024 fantasy, but that's not the case because of his situation. And I got to see past that.
Can we just for a second look at this team that I'm drafting? I think it's a great team. Jamar Chase, Kyron Williams, Malik Neighbors, who, third round, I'm liking that. I still, no matter how good he did today and how excited people are about his what he's potentially going to do all by himself, carrying the team on his back all by himself. The odds of getting hurt that way are high, but Neighbors at 3 is fine. Chase, Kyron, Neighbors, ETN in 4, CJ Stroud in 5, Kenneth Walker in 6, Jamison Williams in 7, Jake Ferguson 8. I mean, I'm as balanced as can be. Blake Corum, a little early just to make sure. Jahan Dotson, we know he's not going to see Aiyuk in Washington, at least that's the word. Ricky Parasol, maybe that turns into some gold. Maybe he goes to New England and that Parasol share goes to the moon. Jalen Wright, Justin Fields, I was timing out and he was on my queue, but I'm kind of glad because with this group, who knows how quickly he'd go. And I love having Fields with Stroud to give myself that running quarterback as well in case, he just outperforms him. So I actually don't mind that. That's a good team. That's a really good team. All right, Sebastian, anything else? You don't have to hang up. I'm just going to circle around the phone line, go back to Bill the Tickler, back to Travis, then back to Rock Out. So anything else real quick? You can mute, you can hang up, you can call back.
All I got to say is just that we're in August and the market's going to get sharper as more people go in. And honestly, I'm just out on Aiyuk. I'm starting to be out on JJ, and I'm out on Neighbors.
What about Lamb?
I'm getting to the point where I'm just calling my shots and just
what about Lamb?
starting to fade players and double down on who I want.
What about Lamb? You running from Lamb with the holdout?
No, I actually moved Tyreek to my number 1 because of the extension, and then I have Chase at 2 and Lamb at 3. But Lamb, I'm not totally running away from him, but I've never been really happy with him this year as far as like going into the season. Yeah. And CMC is an automatic fade for me too. I'm not drafting him on any of my BBM 5 teams.
All right, bro. Hold on. Mute yourself real quickly, and I'll come back. Bill the Tickler, and just to make it abundantly clear, Young says, Smitty, Smitty likes Neighbors in 3 now. That's not new. I mean, Young, what are you talking about? I've literally said for a while now that he's ridiculously high in 2. He's acceptable in 3, especially late 3, but mid 3. Early 3 still tough, but like anywhere's your third drafted player. As I said yesterday, the day before, Young, I'm not Smitty disapproving or sending people on laps if they make him their third drafted player anywhere in the beginning of 3. I just don't necessarily take him at the 2-3 turn, but I won't Smitty disapprove him as long as he's your third drafted player. That's my line in the sand. But where I start saying, damn, I think it's worth it is when he goes as my mid-third drafted player, and I got him in the 4th round in a best ball draft on the show live the other day. So, I mean, I don't know what you're talking about. Go ahead.
Can I ask you a question on Neighbors?
Yeah, go ahead,
Real
Travis.
quick.
Then I'll go to Bill.
So with that, like I like Neighbors obviously, but what did change though for you to take just how we've seen him looking better in camp and stuff? Because obviously, like Danny Dimes has consistently looked like crap in my opinion, like real bad.
But that's the thing is nothing's really changed. I mean, he's been at the I'm liking the mid-third better than I did, but that's where I've said for a while now, mid-third on, third drafted player, preferably late, and I love him as my 4th drafted player, which is never going to really happen. It will in non-best ball.
Right.
So nothing's really changed.
I guess
he's kind of been right there the whole time.
I'm not even pushing back on you either. I'm just trying to kind of make sense of the ADPs and everything compared to other players. Like we've talked about, like the most we could expect. We're not saying he can't do better, but is something possibly similar to Garrett Wilson last year? Do you think maybe he could be better than that then? Like, are you feeling a little bit better in that sense? Because if that's the case, he probably shouldn't be our third drafted player if we're expecting like a top 30 wide receiver as opposed to a
so
top
my
15 or
my stance on Neighbors has been this for pretty much the last month or more. I love him in 4. In a non-best ball grandma league, you're getting him in 4. I'm starting to like him more and more from mid-third on. I don't traditionally take him anywhere near the top 24, 25 overall, meaning even if I've got the 2-3 turn and he's my 3.1, technically speaking, he's a third rounder, I'm still not taking him there because that's still, but I'm not sending people on laps as long as they're drafting him as their third drafted player. If anybody wants to take a gamble on him that high, I don't Smitty disapprove it, but I just don't love it. The only thing that's changed at all for me I'm starting to like him more and more in my exact same range that I'm drafting him in. Like I'm taking him in mid-third when I see him maybe a tad more because I'm seeing how he does carry the team on his back. And as much as I hate Danny Dimes, I do feel like he is going to target him in ways that Zach Wilson was not capable of over targeting, Garrett Wilson. Although, but we'll see. Like, I still think that
I think you're right on that.
Yeah, I think, man, I timed out.
Danny Dimes thing.
I timed out on Gino. Damn it.
Can I add something?
Yeah, Bill, go ahead. Damn it.
So the top 4 rounds. So of any of the rookies, the handful of rookies in the top 4 rounds, who is the most dangerous? Who's the most downside? Because I would have thought it was. I'm a Giants fan. I would have thought it was Neighbors because of the man throwing in a ball, Danny Dimes, and now he's starting to climb. And my thought would be a Dunze. Not that I can, you can ask me my opinion on that, but all those rookies, top 4, most vulnerable. I would have thought it was Neighbors. Now, Smitty, you make me feel confident. Neighbors is okay and safe, and you can win a league if you take him in top 4 rounds of redraft.
So again, this is where I'm not trying to push back on either of you, like as if you're saying anything wrong or taking me the wrong way, but I do feel like my stance hasn't changed at all. Like it's still the exact same. The only difference is he's falling currently as of now. I think today's going to change his ADP though. I don't think this data has been updated. As of this moment, he's falling into the range that I get comfortable with. And I say, hey, I like him here. But he's still in the same place I've been talking about wanting to draft him and only wanting to draft him there. So my answer is nothing at all has changed. It just so happens he was going at the 2-3 turn, and I'm like, what are we doing? Why are we doing this?
Right.
And now that he's falling, like when I drafted it, if you replay it, when I drafted, I said, I don't love Neighbors at the 2-3 turn, but like right here, I can take him here. And I'm not extremely excited about it. I like it a lot. I don't love it. I think I love it the further I go down round 3. And if I get into round 4, especially in a grandma league or a home league, a non-best ball league, he is going in 4 at the top of 4 a lot of the time. That's when I'm okay with it. That's why I said, like I've said before. And again, I'm not trying to say either one of you are saying I'm saying something different. It's just Young said it in the chat. I feel like there is a misconception that my value of Neighbors has changed. I'm excited about what I'm seeing, and it's making me like my range more. That's all I'm going to say. But I'm
all I was trying to clarify.
Yeah, I'm not taking him any earlier than I was going to. It just so happens as of this moment, he's falling to mid-3 in this draft. I don't know that that's even normal. Could be just an anomaly of this draft. But I think today's news is going to have Neighbors climb to the 2-3 turn again. And then I'm going to be out. And I'm going to be saying the same thing I've been saying for months. That Danny Dimes is better than Zach Wilson in terms of not football necessarily, but getting... It looks like he's going to force feed Neighbors as much as he can. And that's great. That's great news. But it doesn't mean that it's going to translate. Not when we're talking about real football. People are getting hit. This is all just, make-believe football right now. And I know that everybody thinks it's going to translate, but I just don't know if it will. We'll have to see. teams.
Yeah, and just to your point, you did say like you would be taking guys like Dell and Metcalf and Devonta Smith, who all went right before you took them.
Absolutely.
You'd still be taking them over him.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is like the earliest I could take him too. Like he just fell to this pick, and that's why I said what I said when I drafted. I said, okay, I don't love taking Neighbors at the 2-3 turn, just so everybody knows. But this spot, this placement, I mean, look at everybody. The only person I considered over Neighbors right here. Let me go back to this. Baseball Mania, where are you? I've got to max out. I've got so many Best Ball Mania drafts that I've got to draft because I need to max out on it. I'm so far behind. I'm going to do like a marathon show for sure coming up here. When I was on the clock here for this Neighbors pick, which I can highlight right here so everybody can follow along with what I'm saying. Neighbors in the third round right here at 30. I look at Mike Evans right after. No, thank you. I get the appeal. I even liked it earlier in the offseason. I'm just starting to get scared about Mike Evans staying healthy. He's been doing it for a long time. I get it, but I don't want to. I want to jump a year early than jump a year late. Derrick Henry, I'm getting more and more worried about that bottom 5 offensive line over in Baltimore. We can have Bill the Tickler speak to that in a second. Pittman Jr., no way as a third. This draft slot here, this pick here, Pittman in the third round, is as bad as taking Neighbors at like 20 overall or 15 overall or something. It's not that the talent's bad. It's just the wrong place to take the player. Your expectation is wildly off. DJ Moore, third drafted player, crowded wide receiver room. No, thank you. Kelsey, you know what? I would have taken Kelsey over Neighbors if I thought I could have got Mahomes right here. And I almost did. But I knew that in this community where I talk Mahomes up as the best pick in fantasy football 2024, there's no way Mahomes is reaching me at 43. But he would in a normal Best Ball Mania draft. So it was a dilemma for me to be like, okay, what do I do here? So I went Neighbors knowing I wouldn't get Mahomes, knowing I wouldn't get Hurts. I might get AR5 maybe. But I decided to roll the dice one more round for that. But I like the way that this happened. But yeah, looking down this third round, Pacheco's the only guy I considered over Neighbors that's in this row after my Neighbors pick. The only guy. I did consider Mahomes, I'll be honest, but I tried to push him to the fourth round as anybody should. Yeah, Neighbors was what?
I was just going to say, how does Pickens compare for you? Now that we know they're probably not getting Aiyuk as of now, and Fields is looking good, the ability to get the ball deep to him like you did with DJ Moore. How do you feel about Pickens compared to Neighbors?
I'd rather have Neighbors. But that's not to say I don't like both of them. I like both of them at cost, but I'm not taking Neighbors. Like, I'd take Neighbors mid-third, and I'd take Pickens in the fourth, like late fourth, but I wouldn't take Pickens in the mid-fourth. I actually don't even want Pickens in the fourth. I think I've even said that before. It doesn't feel right. It's not that I don't...
So that big a separation?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, there is.
I'm not saying you're wrong.
And it's not that I don't like him. It's just I want value for him, and that's it. It's not about hating him. It's not about doubting him. He's a Moon Man graduate. Rock says... Rock, who I imagine is the owner of the Rocco draft slot. Not trying to be a detective here, but he says number 1 spot will win this room. I don't think so, bro. It looks like you sorted by wide receiver, and then you went out to get a bite to eat and came back, and you only drafted wide receivers. You went a little overboard there. You watched too many best ball shows. Yeah, Rocco. Rocco. It ain't going to fly, pal. Not on this channel. But anyway, yeah, look, Neighbors is a curious case, and I will be the first one to tell you that my valuation of Neighbors, my desire to draft him is fluctuating, but inside the same value range that I'd take him. So I guess that's the best way to describe the way I'm feeling about Neighbors. Am I excited about what I'm seeing? Yeah, it's making me more confident about this mid-third to late third territory that I would draft him, and it makes me more likely to take him at 30 instead of saying, yeah, no, maybe not 30. I would take him at 37, 34, 33. But I don't know. I'd take him at 30, but I don't love him at 30. I'm starting to feel more confident about that range. Like, I'm starting to really feel good about mid-third. But I'm telling you, I think today's practice, which has not hit the ADP update yet, he's going to move up to like 2-3 turn. There's so many people excited about today's scrimmage, rather, that he dominated the Lions, and everybody's so excited about what Danny Dimes was able to do with them. And I'm encouraged, but it only solidifies him in the range I would have taken him. I'm not going to follow everybody into the 2-3 turn. I'm not. There's no path for him, in my opinion, to get the touchdowns he needs. Danny Dimes looks good in scrimmage, and it doesn't even look good in scrimmage necessarily, but I mean, he's able to deliver and not to mention, like on one of those plays that everybody is throwing around everywhere, he was pushed out of bounds. He didn't even make the play, and everybody was like, oh my God, he dominated on that. He was out of bounds. So I'm not saying that it wasn't a great catch. I'm just, I don't know. I think, we got to be careful. We got to be very careful, because Danny Dimes, we know what he is. This is not going to surprise. There's not some hidden player in here, some hidden talent that's going to take the league by storm. I think people need to pump the brakes. He's not being hit. He's not being rushed. He's not. He does not have any sort of in-game, situation going on to judge him appropriately. It's kind of like judging Russell Wilson throwing in drills and then playing in a game. It's like people are judging Danny Dimes right now in a scrimmage. We gotta wait. We gotta wait. Let me go through these teams real quick, and then go to Bill the Tickler and Sebastian and Yellow. Yellow, I'll come to you in a second. Superfish has Bijan, Cooper Kupp. Now, I love Superfish's teams about 99.99% of the time, and I'm not saying I don't love this team. There's some really good picks here. But Cooper Kupp, I hope this doesn't. This is what I was afraid of, that Puka would get banged up. And I'm not saying it was a bad pick or anything like that, but I don't want him to climb this high. I love Cooper. This is like Malik Neighbors. This is the exact same situation. There's different risk, different kinds of risk, but it's similar risk in terms of Neighbors doesn't have this. Cooper Kupp is older and could get hurt. And it's like, man, he has such good values. Not such a nice ring to it, third round. I hope to God this is not a staple moving forward. And this could be a temporary bump too. And I'm not saying that the ADP didn't influence you, or if you reached or whatever. There's Snipe City going on, but I hope this isn't the way it's going to go, because then I'm out again on Cooper Kupp. DK, Kupp, Jaden Reed, Kyle Pitts is still a good team. Jalen Warren, Raheem Mostert, Chase Brown's really exciting there. It's a good team. You did good. This is not a bad draft at all. I hope this is not a harbinger of things to come for Cooper Kupp's value. Ray G has Breece Hall, Josh Allen, Tank Dell, Jacobs, Anthony Richardson, Christian Watson, Brian Thomas Jr., Brock Bowers, Trey Benson. Love this team, bro. Nice job. My squad, again, if anybody didn't see, Jamar Chase, Kyron Williams, Malik Neighbors, Travis Etienne, CJ Stroud, Kenneth Walker, Jamison Williams, Ferguson. What a squad. Blake Corum, Dotson, Ricky Pearsall, Jalen Wright, Justin Fields, Demarcus Robinson. Likely, I timed out on Geno, Gesicki, and yeah, I think it's a good one. I think I don't have any regrets really. I think I did pretty well the entire way. Jahmyr Gibbs, Devon Achane, love that start. Mike Evans, again, a little worried about him, but I don't hate this value for you. Kincaid, McLaurin, Kamara, JSN, Love, Tua, A.D. Mitchell, very good team. Very good squad. Miles over in the 8 spot. JJ, Saquon Barkley, Henry, McBride, Xavier Worthy, Coleman. Very interesting wide receivers given the approach you had, but I would say, yeah, with JJ, I'm sorry, I forgot about JJ. Yeah, wow. That's pretty good. J.J. Barkley, Henry, McBride, Worthy, Coleman, Jaden Daniels, Zamir White. Really solid squad. Very intriguing team for sure. Amon-Ra, JT, Pittman. I don't like the Pittman pick. Yeah, A.J. Brown, Debo, DJ Moore, Hurts, Christian Kirk. No running backs. Don't like it. Sorry. Garrett Wilson, Marvin Harrison Jr., Travis Kelce. I love this start. I haven't even looked down yet. I haven't looked at his other picks. I'm looking up so I can fairly tell you how I feel about this start. Garrett Wilson, MHA, Kelce, Mahomes. Love it. I'm going to be very interested in what he does with his running backs. Rashee Rice. Hey, I don't mind the pick, even though I'll be panicking about what my running stable is going to look like. You're cuffing. I like it. Rashad White, Stevenson, Najee. Man, if you just would have got Jaylen Warren. Yeah, it's still very good. It's a very fun team. Very capable. You know, some things have to happen, but I like it. Drake London, Puka, Pacheco. I don't like some of these picks given how stacked you already were at wide receiver. This one spot, the guy that said that's the best team, that was who'd you even get at running back? Let's see. CeeDee Lamb, Olave, Adams, Pickens, Cooper, Deontay Johnson, Lab McConkey, Zach Moss, Dak Prescott, Zeke Elliott. Bro, oh my God. It's the worst running back stable I've ever seen. Estime, Chuba, Zeke Elliott, and Moss. You didn't even grab 5 running backs in your situation? No, bro. No. Estime, Chuba, and Zeke Elliott are 3 of his 4 running backs. And then Zach Moss, who I like Moss, but it looks like he's losing ground. You don't even have, and Zeke Elliott might be losing ground according to reports. You might not even have a starting running back. I don't know why you would do that. I don't know why you do that, bro. At the expense of what? To have an extra Deontay Johnson? To have a Lad McConkey? Like, this isn't worth throwing away your opportunity to try and save your running back crew to go Deontay McConkey. You want to go Cooper, Pickens, Devontae Adams, Olave, CD? Fine. But get back into the running back space somewhere around here. You could have at least got David Montgomery and like Jaylen Warren and then Najee, and then I would have been like, wow, kind of saved it. But no, bro. McCaffrey, Jalen Waddle, Aiyuk, solid. Tyreek, Nico, Devontae. That could work out. I mean, see, he's doing that. Troy's doing that, and he's got at least Mixon and Monty, and maybe that ends up serving him well. Good squads though. What's Rock saying about his team? Is he defending it? It's okay if he is. I mean, to each their own. No, all he said was gotta eat. All right, see you, Rock. Appreciate you, pal. I mean, Rocco. Bill the Tickler, you're live.
Oh, geez. Class is always in session with you, Smitty. I was just listening.
You're taking notes.
Getting lost in all the knowledge you've been dropping.
Thank you. Appreciate you. All right, so I guess if you're done, hang tight. Yellow, what else you got, Yellow?
Oh, no, I'm just listening too, man. I ain't got much. I'm just listening, soaking it up.
All right. Rock out, you got anything? Quiet group tonight there.
What?
I think my students are sleeping. We're having a good time. This is such an entertaining show. Oh, I'm sorry. Are you still live? Rock out? Rock out, you got anything? Bill the Tickler, everybody. That's Bill the Tickler. Bill the Tickler, keep the laughing at a minimum in class, please.
Yes, sir.
So who's
Yes,
the real?
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Who's
Bill?
the real Bill? Bill the Tickler or Wild Bill?
This is Bill the Tickler. By the way, I don't know if anybody knows this story, but Bill was gracious enough when he worked at a high-end steak restaurant where it was like $70 to $100 a steak. When I was in Vegas, not this year, but the year prior for the live stream over there at the Stadium Swim, Bill's like, come over. I'm going to take care of your dinner. You bring Miss Smitty. You're going to have the nicest steak you ever had. And by the way, it was the best steak I've ever had in my life. I'm not even joking. Bill doesn't work there anymore, but it was amazing.
Thanks.
But when
Thanks, Smitty.
yeah,
Thanks,
but when Bill came over and I said, "Hey, Bill the Tickler," and I met him for the first time, I was like, "Oh, wait, sorry," because it sounds so creepy. But he's like, "No, he didn't want me to change his name." He's like, "I'll take it," and all the people that work there were like, "Why is this guy calling him Bill the Tickler? What is going on here?" We work with a guy that drives a van. He must drive a van, like one of those vans that waits out and passes out candy. His name's Bill the Tickler. Bill's wore it like a badge. He hasn't looked back. I tried to change his name once. He said no. He said no. Don't you change it. White cherry van with wood panels.
Oh, you're killing me. Oh, you're killing me. It's a Nissan Cube, but you ain't that far off. That's what's killing me.
It's got the wood panels. Oh, Bill. Anyway, who is up next?
We got a super chat.
Me.
Who's me?
Sebastian.
Oh, we also got Bob from Cali. He's been there for a while. Can I go to Bob from Cali real quick, Sebastian?
Yeah, no worries, bro. Do your thing.
Yeah, go ahead, Bob. Talk about your boy.
Your thoughts on the Panthers now that everything just seems to be falling down and there doesn't seem to be a lot of hope there. Is Jonathan Brooks worthy of drafting? Is Xavier Legette worthy of drafting? Both are injured. Foot. One of them's not playing 3 to 4 weeks. Is it time to pull the plug and just say, wait till next year, no redraft, no dynasty, no best ball, no nothing, and hope for the best next year?
I mean, I don't want to say that I'm not worried a little bit more than the average bear, because I feel like the average bear thinks things are going to get better. I don't know that people are saying it's falling apart. So Legette should be out with the foot. They did an x-ray. There's no broken bone. It seems to be a bruise in the foot. It's probably going to be a 2 to 3 week, maybe less, maybe more, but probably 2 to 3 week type of time frame to sit out and get healthy. So I don't think it's going to be a big deal. You certainly don't want a rookie missing time when he could be gaining ground. It's certainly not great. Jonathan Brooks was never, in my opinion, going to get unleashed in week 1. I think we all expected him to maybe play some snaps, but take about 4 or 5 weeks to get unloaded. But now with him not likely playing weeks 1, 2, 3, and if he's lucky he plays week 4, it does mean that he's probably gonna not get unleashed in week 4 or 5 and then get fully unlocked like 6, 7, 8. So I think you're not wrong. That's kind of the way I feel. Like I'm kind of staying away from everything Carolina, but I think most people aren't, So pull the plug, no. Draft Brooks appropriately, sure. Do I draft Connor and Benson together more so than drafting Brooks alone or Brooks and Hubbard? Yeah. Do I draft Zamir White over Brooks? Yeah. Do I draft Jaylen Warren over Brooks right now? Absolutely. Mashed potatoes. Warren's going to the moon. In fact, he's a moon man extraordinaire.
The Moon Man, dropping loads in outer space.
Appreciate it, Smitty. Thanks a lot, man. Have a great night.
Hey, Bob. Hey, Bob, you're in Cali. Real quickly, prediction, Aiyuk, where's he at? Where is he playing football?
I think he goes to Cleveland.
Okay. Thank you, Bob. Appreciate you. Call back if you got another one. Thanks for waiting. John and then Sebastian. John, go ahead.
Okay, perfect. So I'm in a group of like 8 people, just my friends, and the drafting is like kind of weird because there's players that are available that aren't normally available, right? So I've come across that like my preferred way of drafting would be like a Tyreek Hill or CD Lamb with Kyron and A-Chain, reaching on A-Chain. But I don't know if like going Bijan first, Marvin Harrison Jr., and then like Kyron would equal the same amount of like productivity. If that makes sense.
I mean, all those sound great. Like you're talking about amazing strategies for the most part of what I heard anyway. Rock, aka Rocco's friend from the one spot earlier, says that one spot's got the Riz. Go ahead and book it. that one spot doesn't have a single starting running back. It's cooked from the start. But appreciate you, Rocco. A pitcher tent. Appreciate you. Hopefully you stay, but you're not going to get that kind of advice on this channel to go 8,000 wide receivers in a row and have not one starting running back. But yeah, so bro, Bijan, MHJ, Kyren and Achane, Jamar Chase or Hill in Achane, all are amazing starts. The benefit you get of going one of the top wide receivers like Tyreek Hill and having Kyren is you're fearless in round 3 and 4 to do whatever best player available dictates. We become a little bit of a prisoner to going positional when we go running back, or wide receiver. So you got to be disciplined. And if you can be okay with that, like I would go running back in best ball. I know that Rocco from the one spot wouldn't, but I would go running back. And bro, I'm not even petrified one single bit to go QB in round 3 to do what we call here on the channel, the tripod.
The tripod, likened to pyramids in ancient Egypt, consists of drafting one of Allen, Mahomes, or Hurts to go with one of these round 1 running backs and one of these running backs in round 2. The tripod.
Not scared one single bit to try the tripod. But John, give me your last question, because I may not have answered your full question. But what is it other than all those strategies you listed off are very arguable? I can't give you like any sort of like do this advice until you're on the clock, and honestly, there's no do this advice at all. You know, there's 1,000 ways to skin a cat, and even more ways to win a league.
No, 100%. So other than that, I had a trade proposal come through today. It was Saquon and Tank Dell for Tyreek Hill. I already have Jamar Chase. I don't think I'm going to do it, but I was just going to throw that out there.
In the Dynasty?
No, it's just redraft.
It's redraft?
Yeah.
Saquon and Tank Dell for Tyreek Hill in a redraft? With a lot of depth and no need necessarily for these other like stacking. Like you're gonna find it tough to even start Tank Dell, right? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Yeah, so Tank Dell would be my flex.
Yeah, I think in that situation, well, who's your flex if Tank Dell is, if you're going Tyreek Hill, who's your flex?
Let me wait this out real quick.
Because it doesn't sound like you're as stacked as I thought you were gonna say. Because if Tank Dell's starting for you and Barkley goes into your lineup, then it potentially could be something you think about. I mean, Tank Dell's a monster, you know, like I get he's a tier down, but go ahead.
So I have, like, my starting lineup is Patrick Mahomes, Saquon, Derrick Henry, Jamar Chase, DK Metcalf, TK Dell, and then I've got, like, Keon Coleman on the bench. So if I trade Tank Dell out, DK would go to flex, and then I just have to put in.
Yeah, I can barely hear you. Do you have DK in your flex if you have the Tyreek Hill side? DK goes to your flex?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're stacked. I mean, what are you gonna do? You know, like Tyreek Hill and DK is better than going Saquon and Tank Dell. So yeah, you know, with depth, I'm not doing that. In that case, I'm trying to beef up other positions, bro. I'm trying to go get, you know, trying to turn somebody. You already have Mahomes though, but like I'm trying to use the depth. But yeah, I'm not trying to gain depth when you're in a situation like that.
Okay.
All right, later, John. Let's wrap this up. Hey, Smitty, can't decide Gibbs or Hall at 1.8. Matt, are you still here? I'm sorry about how long I've left Superfish and Matt's super chats up here. Matt, tell me if you're here, please. Can't decide between Gibbs and Hall at 8. To be honest with you, I can't. And there's no shame in that. They're both capable of being the number 1 overall running back this year. I guess I would say I lean Hall by a hair. But you know, I honestly think side-by-side leagues, I would take one in one and one in the other, and I wouldn't even bat an eye. I wouldn't even be like, well, should I take Hall in both, I'm literally 100% taking one and one and one in the other. So appreciate you, bro. Where's is Matt here? Yes, he is. Matt, appreciate you, bro. Always tuned in. Let me go to Travis real quick. Travis, are you contemplating? I mean, I'll be honest. I'm struggling right now. I almost want to like not take it back, but I almost want to take back that I've locked in my answer. Like and be like, you know, I almost feel 50-50. I really do. I mean, both these guys. Before I go to Travis, actually, let me just show. I mean, look, Breece Hall. The thing about Breece Hall is, and I'm not saying this is a bad thing because he was running back 3 in week 5. He's running back 4 in week 6. He's running back 7 in week 8. I mean, he had some good games here, but a lot of this did come really compacted at the end. One of the games was in week 18. You take that out, it changes his finish a little bit, but he was running back 2, 60, 1, 3, and 2 at the end of the year. Not saying he's not going to repeat anything. I'm just merely saying, you know, there is like, it's hard to, you look at his whole season and it's amazing he was running back 2 considering the start. But God, he's good. He's so good. 6'1", 220-pound monster that is probably running for 1,100 to 1,000 yards this year because he does this Christian McCaffrey type workload divide. He's getting at least 6-7 touchdowns, maybe 8 on the ground. He's catching another 75 to 80 balls. He's getting another 550 to 600, and he's probably pulling in another 4, 5, or 6 touchdowns to give you a sum total of 11 or 12 scores, maybe more. But when you look at this beauty here and you say running back 3, 5 times, 29% of the time, running back 5, 6 times for 35, top 10 running back 41% of the time, which is amazing given they didn't unleash him until later. And then you think, okay, I convinced myself. I'm going Breece Hall. And then you pull up Gibbs and you say, best offensive line in football. Not that the Jets aren't also good, but best offensive line in football. Mm-hmm. Running back 10 when he didn't even get used at all really until week 7. And you have this guy, let me pull up his game log here, and I'll show you. It's only fair for showing Breece's game log. We got to show Jahmyr Gibbs' game log. And he didn't get used properly at all to any significant degree whatsoever until week number 7. Now, granted, Monty was out this week. Monty was out this week. So he's running back 3, running back 1. Monty was out. Then the bye week hit. Monty came back, and not only did he come back, he was a top 10, 12 to 13 running back in a majority of these weeks. So he's playing really good football. And he was running back 2, running back 3, running back 3, and running back 3. He had 4 top 3 running back finishes with Monty back at full go. He tied Christian McCaffrey first in the NFL with 6 top 3 running back finishes and tied for 4th in the entire league in top 10 running back finishes. There's just no way to really say one way or the other. They're both unbelievable running backs. And if anybody says Breece Hall is going to absolutely be better than him, I don't know what they're looking at. And you even, I'm not saying both of them could be number 1 and number 2 overall. And then you say, okay, well, let's take it one step further. Do you have anything else that can solidify that this thing's going in the right direction, Smitty, and it's not going backwards? Or yeah. 1 TD, 1 TD, 1 TD. 3 straight playoff games, momentum into this year where he scored a touchdown. Against the Rams, against the Bucks, against the Niners. He scored a rushing touchdown, not a receiving touchdown, a rushing touchdown in every single one of the playoff games. He also was, just another little stat to throw at you, he also was if you take out the quarterbacks like Lamar and Fields from this, he was running back number 3 overall in the National Football League in yards per carry. He also, if you want even another amazing stat, he was also the 2nd best running back in the National Football League in 20-plus yard runs. There's a lot to love about Jahmyr Gibbs. He is not just a timeshare running back that is incapable of being a running back 1 overall. And I'd just like to remind people of that, even though I do struggle with this question myself a lot. And I want both running backs. Go ahead, Travis. I'm sorry to take longer to explain that.
No. I mean, between the two, I'd be 50-50. I mean, the only thing you could say Hall has over Gibbs, and it's not a proven thing at all, but is the size. I might be able to take a pounding more and be get a few more carries than him. But I mean, Gibbs is just such a good pass catcher. I think that probably evens out. I know Hall's a fantastic pass catcher too, but I think Gibbs might be, a little bit better than Hall in terms of purely catching the ball. So I don't see how you could be upset if you had either. So go with your gut, decide how you want to build the team. I guess you could say Gibbs might be in a little bit safer spot because Goff is there. Goff is locked up if you're talking about dynasty. So, but besides that, I don't see how you could be upset with either.
Yeah. I wanted to address this comment right here by where was it? Golden State Niner, because this is a Niner fan, so I think this is it's nice to get a Niner take. He says the Niners are dumb if they take Bourne for Aiyuk, and granted they're going to get more if that is actually the offer. They're going to get draft capital. But right. I do agree that, you go from Aiyuk to Bourne versus Aiyuk to Cooper, and I think the objective here is to get a receiver. I don't think the Niners feel comfortable. They're not as good of a team if they don't get that wide receiver back. I like Pearsall, but you're going for a championship run this year, not trying to develop Pearsall. It'll take about 2 years to get maybe 2.5 to get what you really need out of him. So I kind of agree that if that goes that route, it's a little bit scarier, for the Niners this year. I think it becomes a problem.
I'm Bourne. That's why I said it. It's hard for me to believe that they would want Bourne over, say, a Pope, maybe. But the thing with Bourne is Bourne is a very solid, decent receiver, even good at times. But he's been hurt like crazy too. I'm talking from a Patriots fan. I'm a Patriots fan, but looking from the Niners side, it's I'd rather roll the dice on Polk. You getting if they want someone, if they want a veteran guy, so that tells me they want someone that can come right in and know the playbook. Well, Polk is supposedly pretty advanced with that. I mean, I don't know, KJ Osborne and Bourne, are they much different? But KJ Osborne doesn't get hurt. Bourne is always hurt.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Superfish took Cup only 5 spots away from ADP. So that's what I was saying. I didn't want to call you out, Superfish, and say you're doing a bad job drafting or anything. But I wanted to have that conversation of God, is Cup's value climbing already to the turn? And that sucks because I wanted to package in the risk, but I still love Cup anywhere as my 3rd drafted player. I hope that we don't see him climb. I hope that it's a very short-lived spike, and then once Puka's back, everybody drops Cup back down. But it's tough to say what's going to happen with that. And this $10 hauler from Matt. Matt's dropping loads tonight. Matt, appreciate it. To the moon. Matt to the moon. Matt says, appreciate all the fast news and amazing content. By the way, Smitty, rock on. Best chat in fantasy also. Thanks for everything. You bet, Matt. I'm glad you found your home here. And for anybody that's new, especially on X, where we have a crazy amount of people over there still, 537 people on X. I've got 250 here on YouTube. Please hit the thumb up button on YouTube. We only have 100 thumbs up. So hit the thumb up button on YouTube, the 249 of you. And all those X people, you got to get over here to YouTube because I'm not going to always be live on X every time, and I don't want you guys to miss the show. And we want you to become a part of this amazing YouTube community too. I love that you're watching from X, and that's why I've streamed there about the Aiyuk news all day today, because I know there's a lot of Niner fans that follow me over there, and it potentially, is going to trigger a lot of the views that we got. I'm glad we found some of you newbies, but make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel. Appreciate all the thank you, Matt. Appreciate you. Go ahead, Travis. I'm sorry.
I just want to say one more thing on Bourne. I was thinking about it. Kyle Shanahan drafted him, and he was in that offense for 4 years. So it may be just something as simple as that, where he likes him and he knows the playbook, and it would be just a seamless transition for, Pearsall is going to take that next step up, and he just slides in there, I guess. That's all I can imagine.
Yeah, Matt, as far as which one to...
You want him over a younger guy.
As far as which one to hold and keeper, I mean, it's the same argument. There's nothing at all changes from what I just said. I would struggle to decide. That number one spot's going to eat. This guy Rocco is just hanging on to his horrible draft. Rocco, just admit it.
You want 4 running backs and none of them were a hero. That cover's raked by itself. Nothing more needs to be said.
I know. Like, you're going to try this approach, and you get Zach Moss not starting. Zeke Elliott, word is he looks like a grandfather running, and people are like, he's not. This is somebody's grandpa out there. And Chuba Hubbard, early on, you might not have a single player getting even 50% of the work by midseason. Estime, I can't believe you went 4 RBs to. I thought for sure with this approach we're going to see like 7 running backs drafted at the bottom. You went 4 RBs, my guy. And what are the bye weeks even? I don't know, but good God. I mean, he's hanging on to this thing though. He keeps the number one spot's looking good. Who is that? Rock wants to know who Rocco is from the one spot. He's got the Riz. I don't think there's any Riz going on. Absolutely not. Let's go over let's end the phone call segment here. Let's one at a time file off. Bill the Tickler, your final words, young man.
Did I get skipped again?
Oh, was that Sebastian?
Yeah, I've been waiting here for like 40 minutes.
Okay, go. Yeah, sorry. I thought you talked already a couple times, but you just talked a second ago. But go ahead, Sebastian, the floor is yours. What would you like to say before Bill the Tickler?
I wanted to bounce off what John was saying, because I was like right after him about his 8-man league. I'd be targeting the RBs pretty early on, just because of just having those elite running backs, and then he can get the elite onesies, the elite quarterback, the elite tight ends, because the field is a lot smaller. So there's going to be a lot of value at wide receiver, and then he's going to be winning at those bigger start one positions. So I would be targeting QB and tight end if you were to reach potentially for a position.
Yeah,
those are the positions.
8-man league, you got to do the tripod.
The tripod, likened to pyramids in ancient Egypt, consists of drafting one of Allen, Mahomes, or Hurts to go with one of these round 1 running backs and one of these running backs in round 2. The tripod.
There is no better scenario to draft the tripod than an 8-man league. It's absolute smash. To add on to what you're saying, running back, quarterback. Grab one, because it doesn't matter how deep the position is. Like, yes, there will be so many good quarterbacks not starting for anybody, but there's only so many league winners, and you have the ability to scoop up. If you go wide receiver or running back, quarterback in an 8-man league, you're still getting Deebo Samuel, Tank Dell, and DK Metcalf type players as your wide receiver 3 or 1, 2, and 3. So yeah, there's no doubt in my mind that I'm going RB quarterback or RB. And again, I don't draft a position, I draft a player, but I can just tell you with almost certainty the best player available will be running back, quarterback. Like,
because the quarterback, the top 4 separate that much from the rest of the field.
Yeah.
You have to go when the field is that small.
Yep. What else you got, Sebastian?
And then I just had a 49ers question. I see Vegas has them by far as the number 1 offense, number 1 overall team, like points per game, everything. And I'm not going to lie, like, what I see is I see a 28-year-old Christian McCaffrey. I see a 29-year-old Deebo Samuel. I see a lot of mileage. I see a Kittle recovering from surgery. I see an Aiyuk that's been holding out. Like, for me, I don't really care that they're the number 1 projected offense. I just see so many red flags. Is it crazy to say that, like, I've just been out on pretty much everybody except for, like, really Kittle and Pearsall? Just because of the mileage and some of the red flags? 'Cause they are still projected to be number one, and I'm not buying it.
I'm out on Kittle this year. I'm kind of out on Kittle.
Well, keep in mind, like, remember my story about how I went into the, keep forgetting what it's called because I don't even frequent it at all. I don't even know if it exists anymore. What was that social media app where it's all audio? What's it called?
Rumble?
No. It's all audio. They made it, and Spaces was created because of it. Twitter Spaces. What's that app called? Damn it. It came out during the pandemic, and it was like it blew up because everybody's sitting at home and it's all audio. It's all chat audio rooms. What's it called? Somebody tell me. Nobody knows.
Zoom.
Nobody knows on the phone line.
Zoom was video. So
No. Somebody's gonna tell me right now, and I'm gonna be like, not Telegram. No. What? Clubhouse. You guys, no one knows what Clubhouse is? It was huge. It started to take over Twitter because. Anyway,
yeah, it was a big trend on it.
It was huge, Clubhouse. So anyways, I went into Clubhouse, thought it was going to be huge and big, and then Twitter Spaces, they stole Clubhouse's product because it was so successful, and they created Twitter Spaces because of it. So that's why Twitter Spaces developed. But anyways, I went into a Clubhouse room, and it was for bettors. They were betting, and I just raised my hand to speak or whatever, and I was like, you guys, I told the story before, so I'll try and tell it quickly. But you guys should incorporate fantasy football into your betting because there's a lot of projection and predictive stuff that you're doing from a fantasy football angle that you're not doing from a what did this team do last year and what are they doing now? I'm trying to think, what are they doing next week? What are they doing next year? What are they doing? And you think and value teams differently. And they're like, well, give me an example. And I'm like, well, the Bengals. They're getting Jamar Chase. They're gonna win the division. And they just laughed me almost out of the room. It was about 25 to... I hope the guy's listening right now that knows what I'm talking about because he'll come in and tell you it's true. But they practically laughed me out of the room. There's about 30, maybe 40 people in it. And they were just like, they were clowning on me. They were laughing so hard. They're like, you just said the Bengals are going to win the division. Bro, last year, Smitty. And everybody kept saying last year. And this is why I have such a problem with the best ball community and how all they talk about is last year. Like, there's no predictive, aspect to it. And so I basically, said the Bengals are going to win the division. They're going to be a Super Bowl contending team. They're going to go from rags to riches really quickly. And they're like, what makes you think that? I'm like, because I'm predicting how things will change. I'm not just talking about what is or what was. And so I forget why I'm even talking about this. I think I was bringing it up because of, I think your Christian McCaffrey avoidance and avoiding the Niners. I think it's why I'm bringing this up. But anyway, one guy ended up saying, you know what? I'm going to roll with what he's saying. And he put a significant amount of money on the Bengals to win the division. And he made so much money. And so I went back to find that chat room a year later, right? Because I knew that what I said was great. And it's always the same group. And as soon as I requested in, they go, Smitty's here. And they were all, oh my God, bro. They were like just going crazy. And then the one guy, spoke and said, bro, I put a bunch of money on it. And I won a boatload of money on the Bengals winning the division. And everyone's like, I wish I would have put something on it. I can't believe I didn't put something on it. He ended up putting it on the Bengals we rolled it all into the Bengals to win the Super Bowl. And I think he lost it all. But I hope he calls in because he usually calls in like once a year. And we talk about this. My whole point is this. I think that a lot of people don't try and be ultra predictive, or at least not as much as I like to be. I'm looking to the future always. I'm trying to figure out a way to see what's coming around the curve. And so I don't think it's crazy to avoid a 28-year-old Christian McCaffrey. I don't think it's crazy to say, hey, George Kittle is one of the most aggressive players to his body, very Gronkowski-like, going to have a short career. And he lost 30 pounds this offseason with the core injury. What's that going to look like coming back on the field, taking hits? Is he rushing things? Is he getting to where he needs to be? There's nothing wrong with worrying about a Trent Williams getting older offensive lineman that when he's out, the entire offense crumbles. There's a lot of reasons to be worried about the 49ers. And, this is why I was saying Vegas, betting lines, like all the stuff that's driven by people's bets. Like the line in Vegas, when they say this team's going to win by 9 points, is not what Vegas necessarily thinks. People always think Vegas knows. Sometimes they move a line and have, I'm sure, ways of capitalizing on that. But majority of the time, the line's moving based on the last bet. It's just like the stock market in a sense. Apple stock at 200, if it's 200 a share, it's 200 because the last person bought it at 200. Someone buys it at 201, now it's 201. The line in Vegas moves to get equal amount of people on both sides. If there's 101 people on this side of the 9-point line and there's 100 on this side, well, then it's fine, right? There's one person on that side. If 10 people all of a sudden jump on this side of the line and there's 111 people on this side of the line and only 100 still, that line's going to move to get the 100 people, to get more people in the 100 bucket to get it even. Vegas makes money on the rake. They make money on the rake, how much you spend to bet, and then they want it to be even on both sides of the line. So it's just to answer the question, the long-winded answer is that everybody expecting the Niners to be the number one team, that's coming from a lot of people that are making bets on last year and what they believe to be the case right now. They have no concept of trying to predict injury. They're not in the same place we are in looking at 28-year-old running backs. And that's why I went into that chat room and said, you guys should be focusing on the data behind 28-year-old running backs dropping off, behind 31-year-old receivers dropping off. All you're going to get from a big gambling community is Mike Evans is going to do it. He's been doing it forever. Christian McCaffrey, I think he's got 3 years left, right? 2, maybe 3 years. They have no clue. Like when you hear a gambling community, like in a chat room like that talk, you're almost like cringing at some of the things you hear, even though they're very good at what they do. If they just had more ammo, they would be magnificent gamblers. So that's why I bring it up, is I think it's a really amazing, like, kind of twist of what I think fantasy football mindsets bring to the table. And I think this, like Moneyball and baseball, I truly believe that some of the very elite, not everybody, some of the very elite fantasy football minds would be amazing to have as a scout inside an NFL organization, because we look at things from a predictive standpoint that I don't think scouts do. I don't think NFL teams do. We're trying to see what the end result looks like, and then we make decisions based on that. And I think that's way ahead of the curve, and it doesn't get enough respect. And someday, I hope that the most elite fantasy mind does find a place in an NFL scouting room, and there's a lot lot to be made of it, like a lot of hype behind it.
I don't know. I just thought it was interesting because everybody has 49ers. It just doesn't make sense to me. But thank you for clearing the air on that. Yeah. I've been out since day one.
Rock, stop with your number one slot team. Okay, you just over and over and over. No one cares about it. No one likes it. I appreciate your. Yeah, it's like over and over. Number one spot's going to eat. Number one spot's not eating anything. You're only eating the turf because your running backs aren't going to be on the field. So let it go. There's not a good draft. Here he goes again. Number one spot. Say it again, and you'll actually say it again, and we'll just remove you because you're acting like a bot. Let's go. Okay, so Sebastian, final thoughts.
Yeah, just real quick on Pickens versus Neighbors. I actually do prefer Pickens at his ADP, and maybe even 1-for-1 when hindsight's 2020, only because his starting quarterback has to play well. And Russ, he is a deep baller. He does like throwing those low percentage throws. And that's George Pickens' game, just the flashy like deep plays, footwork, all that. So he fits the archetype for us. And then, I mean, Justin Fields, he produced DJ Moore last year. So I really do think he's compatible with both quarterbacks. And, I mean, one of them needs to earn the job. So that's why I'd prefer Pickens over Neighbors.
Yeah. I don't hate it. I don't, what's this guy saying? Fake news. This is just as bad as ESPN. I think he's referring to this live stream. what an unfortunate thing for him that all this news is out there, and it's coming from it's coming from Schefter. It's coming from RSF 49ers, the biggest Instagram Niner page out there. It's coming from around the NFL, and it's coming from 49ers on NBC. So, number one, it's not fake news. Number two, I'm going to report on that, whether you like it or not, and you don't have to be here. I'm going to report on it. If it's coming from 49ers on NBC, if it's coming from Raj, or it's coming from even just Schefter or Rappaport, whether I agree with what they're saying or not, we're going live on it. And everybody that knows what's up knows that's why we're here. It's not to suggest that we believe everything we see or hear. Sometimes we need to digest it, or if it does end up coming true, go through the scenario. So I don't know what in the hell you're talking about. All right. Hey, Sebastian, did I answer your question? Are you done?
Yeah, have a good night.
All right,
I'll follow on YouTube.
Later, bro. Bill the Tickler.
Yeah, buddy. How you doing?
This guy just won't stop.
Been a great show. Smitty. Thanks for involving me.
Now the troll's super chatting. Hold on, Bill. Number one spot's gonna eat. He dropped a $2 Tell you what, we won't kick you out, but every super chat will let you continue to say that. Every other one will just remove it. So if you want to super chat, the number one spot will eat. We'll allow that. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Bill.
No, you don't you ever apologize, Smitty. You're good. Just more proof of your community, man.
Right.
You know, you give opportunity after opportunity. So thanks for all the content.
All right, later, bro. Appreciate you,
You're
Bill.
the
Bill the
best.
Tickler. Bill the Tickler. Let's see if we can get him to Bill the Tickler. He's the tickler. He's that didn't take much. Didn't take much to tickle Bill. He doesn't. Oh, he's choking. Bill the choking tickler. All right, Bill. We'll see you later.
Love you, buddy.
Didn't take much to tickle him tonight. Let's go over to Yellow. Yellow, final thoughts, my guy.
What's up, Smitty? Who you trust more, Jaden? Who's that for the Commanders? Jaden
Daniels.
What's his last name?
Jaden Daniels. JD5.
Jaden. Who you trust more, Jaden or Caleb?
Jaden or who?
Caleb.
Jaden or You're muffled, man. I can't hear you. You went away.
Jaden or Caleb Williams.
Jaden. I trust Jaden with one hand handcuffed behind his back to one of his legs more than I trust Caleb.
That's right. Who have a better fantasy output this year, the Chargers or the Giants?
Chargers, but I don't want either. I only want Neighbors in a good mid-third or later, preferably, but mid-third territory, because he will eat based on volume. But will he live in the red zone? No. Will he be given hospital balls all day long? Yes. Will he probably have at least 2 quarterbacks, maybe 3 on the year? Yes. All those things concern me, and I know everybody wants to think positively, and I am to a degree if I'm still drafting in the mid-third. But as I've said for months now, we need to pump the brakes on 2-3 turn territory for Malik Neighbors. And Malik Neighbors' day today, his fantastic scrimmage, is probably taking what we see right here at this mid-third round value, and it's probably hiking it up. This is where I took him. It's probably hiking him up into this 2-3 turn, which I think is going to be where I'm 100% out. I'm not going to make anybody take laps taking him anywhere as a third drafted player, but he does not belong as your third drafted player. It's just not a good idea.
Straight up. Yeah. In my Yahoo league, on my 18 league on Yahoo, I got Keon Coleman in the 15th round, last pick. And my last pick,
Later,
I'm
Bill.
gonna say, man.
Later, Bill.
Clubhouse is one of the hottest things going on the internet right now, man.
Yeah, I haven't been back for a long time just because I don't have time. But I did enjoy it when the pandemic was going on. It was very popular. I don't think a lot of people. It might be popular with the amount of people that are still on it, but it definitely isn't like no one's hearing about it anymore. And I think Twitter Spaces really did some damage to it when they stole it, because that was all. Clubhouse is a great idea, and then Twitter Spaces came out to kind of combat it. But yeah, it's still. I mean, I can see why you want to go on there, and it's a different community. It's not toxic like Twitter. You know, Twitter's had years and years to develop the toxicity. So Clubhouse is very much more laid back. But anyway, hey, appreciate you, bro.
All right, Smitty. Catch you later.
Call anytime. Later.
Yeah.
Young, you've got 30 seconds to a minute just because we're already wrapping up the phone line here. So go ahead.
Got you, brother. Hey, I just wanted to help out my buddy Joel in the chat. He had a question earlier about Puka. What's our approach with Puka going forward with the week-to-week knee injury?
I mean, I have a video on this that stands still, the breaking news Puka video, but I would say, like, any updates, I'll probably say my gut instinct here is that, let's see where he got drafted in tonight's draft. He went at number 13. I think this is appropriate to have him not go 8, 9, 10, you know, even 11, just because he's gonna have a little more injury risk than people realize. He plays so aggressive and he'll do whatever it takes. A great quality, but he still was not the number one wide receiver last year in the red zone on every level. Cooper Kupp had more red zone touchdowns, more red zone receptions, more red zone targets, and he missed a handful of games. So he's still lacking that part of the game, but it doesn't mean he can't improve upon that. I'm not saying he can't, but I think it's dangerous territory making him 8, 9, 10, 11 overall player. And I'm not saying Drake London here is any safer. I think that Puka and Drake London, I love both of them. And you guys know how much I love Drake London, but there's a time and a place to take him in at 12, 11, 10. That's too early. Who would I take instead of Drake London and Puka looking at this? To be honest, I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is safer. I know people are going to say he's a rookie. How's he? I just think he's not a rookie. I think he's playing like a 3-year veteran. He looks like a 3-year veteran, acts like a 3-year veteran, makes decisions like a 3-year veteran. I think MHJ is safer than, personally, I think he's safer than people realize. So, like, I'd take him over Drake London. I think Puka and MHJ are very close. I wouldn't even mind taking both of them here. But I'm taking Kyron Williams at the 2-3 at the 1-2 turn all day long in a mom and pop league. I'm taking Gibbs if he falls there. He didn't fall in this particular draft. I'm taking Barkley there. I don't know that there's anybody else that I would take over Puka, so that's why Puka does fall to the 1-2 turn, because I think that the furthest I'd let Puka fall would probably be that 14 pick, that 15 pick, and that's it. But I think that the further he falls, the more I like him. It packages in the risk. Don't think the injury's going to be anything, but you never know. Usually you don't have a bone bruise unless you've traumatized the knee joint and you're smacking your two knee joints together to some degree, and you can't do that. What people don't realize with meniscus is that, and I've got my my knee model here, the meniscus won't allow your knee joints to collide. So you have to have an overextension like this. You can see my knee model, that padding, you've got to go down like that and hyperextend to smash the two joints together. So there's that, like when people have knee injuries. I don't even know to what extent the injury, it's like they're being very coy about it. They're just saying he's day-to-day. So once we have a little bit more information on it too, I feel like they haven't released much on it. They're being very quiet on it. We'll know a little bit more of what the time frame's going to be. But to hear he's already going to be out 2 to 3 weeks, maybe he'll be ready for week 1, everybody says, but they're not. He's just going to sit out and rest. That means it's significant enough. And with a bruise, if it is in fact the bone bruise right there or wherever it is, the integrity of the knee's in question. And so you can't just, not a pain tolerance thing, it's actually integrity of the knee problem. So you have to be very careful not to rush yourself back from a bone bruise, or you will have, you could crack the bone, you could break your leg.
Okay, yeah, that was a very extensive answer, and yeah, it's greatly appreciated, brother.
All right, man, we'll see you later.
All right, have a good night.
Rock out. Final words, pal. What do you hear? What do you say?
I think I'm good. Appreciate it.
Okay, are you feeling better, bro? He's suffering from the pandemic. Are you
trying to get there, but
Are you getting better, or are you getting worse?
Not getting worse.
Okay. Just making sure, bro. Appreciate you.
Appreciate it.
All right, call in tomorrow. Let us know when you're feeling better.
All right. Yep.
Prayer emojis for Rock Out, please. Let's speed his recovery up. Travis, final thoughts. And we got hold on 1 second.
Yeah,
we got Rock with another super chat. Number. What's that sound? Oh, that's the number 1 spot. I like this. This is okay. I can do this song and dance with you with $2 super chats all day long. All right, go ahead, Travis.
Yeah, actually, Sick Nasty. What, like, where Keon Coleman's spot, like, in a rookie draft would be now? Like what spot would you take him at? You know, and over what player? Like, you know, 1.4, 1.7 over Benson, over
rookie.
Odunze. You know, where
rookie.
Yeah, in a rookie draft, where would you say he's fallen now? If you had to, I guess, if you had to just, you know, go down the line, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, where does he fall?
So, non-Superflex? Let's just say, I guess.
Sick Nasty, let him know.
Well, let's just say, let's just say it's non-Superflex. Can I ask a question at the cost of maybe losing some followers tonight? Can someone convince me why I should be drafting Odunze over Coleman at this 3 spot?
I think it's a good point. When you said that, I think it was last night or earlier tonight. I've been thinking about it ever since.
Can someone call in and give me a good argument other than, oh, he's great in college? Like, he's in a situation where DJ Moore just got the bag and he's not going anywhere. And I'm not saying 2 receivers can't live in a potent offense if you believe in Caleb Williams, but can someone convince me that Coleman can't be better than Odunze? I don't think you can convince me of it.
Okay, yeah. I can't convince you. I was going to say the only situation where I see him outproducing would have to be if the Bills go with some, you know, pass to the open man no matter what, and things get watered down. But I'm not. But that's like a 10 or 20% chance that happens.
I want to be
I can't convince you of it.
I want to be very clear that I don't think you need to draft Coleman 3. Okay, so everybody that's taking this wrong and saying, "Oh my God, Smitty's drafted Coleman," I don't need to. Like, I think you could be safe and go to 4 or even 5 and take Coleman, but I'm just merely pointing out that Coleman, in my opinion, right now feels like my 3. And that's Dynasty rookie only rankings. And I may even have a video of it. Look, I'm not wasting my time with all the Keon Coleman drops. I'd be doing Odunze drops. And if Odunze went to Buffalo, let's be completely honest, everything you're hearing about Keon Coleman, you'd be hearing about Rome Odunze, because situation is king. And it is kingmaker. It is kingmaker. Odunze, yeah, if Odunze was in Buffalo, you're not wrong. He might move ahead of Neighbors. But Odunze's not. And he doesn't have the quarterback situation that I believe Coleman has, and he certainly doesn't have the target share yet. And I think that this is certainly something I want to take advantage of. Like you can't take Coleman higher than probably 5, and you don't need to. So let's say you had 3, then you trade down. You just trade down, and you could play it safe and grab him 5, whatever. But you certainly don't want to take him 3. I mean, if you can't, what if you can't trade though? You're just going to take the guy you like. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. That's kind of why I'm asking the question. If you can't trade down, what in the hell do you do? Because if you believe
you gotta take your guy, right?
I mean, I guess if, let's say, no one allowed trading, but Coleman's the man. Right. Coleman is him. Coleman is him. And his situation is him too. They're both him. Buffalo is him.
If this takes too long, don't worry about it. But what if it was a super flex?
I mean, all the super flex does is move JD5 into the 1 or 2. It moves Caleb for a lot of people into the 2 or 3 or something, and that's good for me because I don't want him. And then it puts like the other 1 or 2 quarterbacks in there, but it doesn't really change the values for me because the only quarterback I'm drafting in a super flex over MHJ, Neighbors, Bowers, Coleman, and Odunze is JD5. I'm not taking Caleb over him. I just don't believe in it. Would I trade out of the pick to try and take advantage of that? Yeah. Just like I'm not taking Coleman 3 if I don't have to. I'm going to take him 5 or 6 or 7, but I'm going to gain something major out of it and let the person that's moving up think, oh God, I'm getting Odunze. And that's fine. Like I don't know what to tell people other than it's uncomfortable to hear that if you don't believe in Coleman. And this is why I have a channel. This is why I do what I do. I'm not saying I'm right all the time, but I am here to predict things. And what I'm predicting here, whether it makes people upset, like my predictions of Tank Dell, made a lot of people upset. A lot of people said these same things about Tank Dell. That's why Coleman's my next Tank Dell. Because the pushback I get is very similar. Even though the ADPs are different, there's still a win-a-league potential that is very measurably the same. And so at the end of the day, this is my Tank Dell. This is my guy. This is where I'm taking my stand and saying Coleman is him. And I'm going to try and get away with every piece of value I can in drafting him in redraft and drafting him in dynasty and drafting him in rookie only. I'm moving down, but I'm saying ranking wise, Coleman might be my 3 overall. In dynasty, he's definitely my 2-3 in redraft for rookies, but he's probably my 3 in dynasty. I think Neighbors goes above him, but I don't know. Okay.
Now what? The last question, real quick. Odunze, how far does he drop you? Do you take BTJ over him or no?
Odunze, how far is BTJ from
Brian Thomas? Brian Thomas Jr.
From Odunze? Yeah, I don't know.
Still got Odunze over him?
Yeah, I don't know. I do. I just don't know. I don't know how far. I love Odunze, I really do. And if DJ Moore wasn't signed to a long-term deal, I don't know. I'm probably going to say Odunze by a hair over BT. Yeah. And I just don't love BT's. I don't hate BT's situation, but I also don't love it. So I'm going to say Odunze, then BT. But I don't think Odunze is in a great spot. And maybe it turns into one, but it's crowded there. Maybe Keenan Allen is there another year. I don't know. we'll have to see what happens.
I got you.
What's going on at the risk of making Travis look like the bad guy here? What's going on with Joel in the chat? I'm trying to figure out what.
No, I mean, Joel and Young have been just going back and forth. It was a little more so Young. Joel didn't really say too much, so Young ended up getting timed out, and I was just finishing things off with Joel, just telling him to leave it alone, just because Young wasn't going to stop.
Smitty, to answer it, would have sent a super chat. What did we? I'm trying to catch up. What is the gist of what happened? I'm trying to figure it out.
Between those two.
Yeah. Why is everybody fighting in here? What's going on between Joel and Young?
They were going back. I don't even know how it started, but they were going back and forth, and then.
Okay, that's right. I'll look into it. I'll look at it. But guys, start getting along. What the hell is going on here? All right, Sebastian. Final thoughts. Travis, appreciate you, bro. I'll see you later.
Yeah, I'll talk to you later. Thanks.
All right, later.
Yeah, you told us to call in about an outlook on Odunze versus like Coleman potential for this year, and this is coming from a guy that has Keon Coleman as my highest drafted rookie. But I'll tell you the realm of possibilities where Odunze is more productive this year. Caleb Williams is in a worse offense, so he will. I mean, he is on a worse team, so he will be forced to have more passing volume. And also, right now at the NFL level, DJ Moore and Keenan Allen, they're going to be commanding a lot more attention from the top corners. Like what if you play a Jets or a Broncos that's going to be a Sauce Gardner, Pat Surtain? Odunze is not going to have to see that type of corner his rookie year, so he's going to be more efficient, I think, and I think he will have better matchups. Even though Keon Coleman isn't a better offense, he will be seeing tougher corners as far as like one-on-one man coverage.
I don't think it matters though. Like, so does CeeDee Lamb, so does Jamar Chase, so does St. Brown, that doesn't stop those guys from balling out. I think Josh Allen's special. None of this is convincing me at all. All I'm hearing is, to be honest, I'm just telling you my reaction because I wanted someone to convince me, and you're not convincing me. All I hear is that he's going to slip in to some good numbers because there'll be, better coverage, better cornerbacks, covering and blanketing DJ Moore and Keenan Allen. Odunze should be able to find the scraps to beat out the number one wide receiver and the most vacated targets, second to only, I believe, one team. They're second in the NFL, the Bills, in vacated targets. Watching Keon Coleman dominate a really good defense in practice over and over and over, taking touchdown after touchdown in amazing fashion, back-bending fashion, toe taps, diving for the ball. Keon Coleman's showing up. Everything we've been saying Keon Coleman's going to do here on this channel, he's doing it right now. I'm telling you, I don't feel like Caleb's also got a 2 wide receiver set offensive coordinator. He's been doing it for years. I mean, maybe he's trying to deploy the 3 wide receiver set, but this guy's a 2 wide receiver set specialist over in Seattle. Shane Waldron coming over, and he's got 3 wide receivers he's got to deal with. Odunze, as a rookie, and again, we're talking dynasty, so this could change, right? But as a rookie, I don't think he gets into the number 2 wide receiver role, which means he won't always be on the field. And I just think Keon Coleman's going to blow him out of the water in year 1. And how good and progressed is Coleman at that point? Situation is king and kingmaker. Devontae Adams became Devontae Adams because of Aaron Rodgers. Diggs became Diggs because of Josh Allen. I'm not saying they didn't in turn help their quarterbacks as well become who they became, but it's hard to know what Adams would have looked like had he not had Aaron Rodgers fast tracking him. And so he leaves. Devontae Adams leaves as good of a player as Aaron Rodgers set him up to be. Not saying it's fabricated or propped up. So I'm not trying to say that Coleman will only be propped up to be this good. I think he turns into something amazing because of Josh Allen, partly because of Josh Allen, and he'll always be that. he'll grow into it. It's not fake. It's just it's not natural. It's like a situational steroid, and it's gonna turn Keon Coleman into He-Man. Gonna turn him into the Hulk.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you, but just as far as like an unbiased realm of possibilities, that would be the one instance where I could see a Dunze outperforming him is just matchup based. I mean,
I don't think so.
what do you think if Tank Dell was the X receiver by himself? There was no Nico there. Do you think he'd still be as good as he is if he were the X?
Absolutely. I think Tank Dell can be good in any role. I think Stroud's also going to throw a boatload. I don't believe in Caleb the same way a lot of people believe in Caleb. I'm not banking on Caleb being, as a rookie, somebody that can feed 3 wide receivers, bro. I'm just not banking on it. I'm not even banking on him lasting and becoming what anybody thinks he's going to become. So if I had faith in Caleb, it might be a different story. I might be pumping up Dunze. But again, in being fair and unbiased, if Dunze was in Buffalo like I wanted on draft day, I admittedly wanted that, and Coleman went to Chicago, you wouldn't be hearing me talk Coleman up at all. I mean, a little bit, but
he'd
like
probably be a bust candidate.
yeah,
too, at that
because
point.
situation is that important. You know, like, I mean, in taking this into much simpler context, Tom Brady, does he ever even start an NFL game if he's not in New England? And we never know who he is. Does Kurt Warner, and I can tell you the answer to this is absolutely hell no. No one knows who Kurt Warner is. If he doesn't get a second shot, actually third shot in the NFL, and Dick Vermeil says, put him in there, and his offensive coordinator, once Trent Green goes down, heading into week 1, says, I don't want Kurt Warner in my lineup. And the head coach says, no, you're going to do it. And Kurt Warner goes out there, throws an interception on his first play. And everyone goes, oh, shit. Then goes back onto the field, never looks back. Kurt Warner was born on that next drive, and he became an absolute monster, MVP, one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game. And we would never, ever, ever know who he is if he wasn't in not only that exact situation where Trent Green went down, but had the coach that would have stuck by him. They would have made a trade. They decided not to. And the American Underdog movie about Kurt Warner is amazing. A little cheesy, but like it's still amazing. The story's unreal. But it's all I'm saying is that situation is king and kingmaker. And you mix talent in with that, and it just amplifies everything. But I'm going to go ahead and say that Keon Coleman is the number 2 rookie wide receiver in redraft this year by I don't want to say a country mile, but I think it might be very impressively crazy. And we're going to have Tank Dell conversations. Look, I remember how aggressive people were against my Tank Dell take. He's too small. You're absolutely wrong. I almost know for a fact that if Keon Coleman stays healthy, injury can take out anybody, that we're going to be having
what do you think of Troy
blast in here.
Franklin? Because Bo Nix just handpicked him this year.
Tank Dell, light player, small player. Franklin, small player. So I can't really say, oh, he's too small. But the thing about Tank Dell is he was too small, but I loved him, and I saw it in him. Franklin's too small, and I don't necessarily see it in him. So it can't just be it can't just be translated over because Tank Dell was a successful, skinny dude that figured out how to, dominate at the line of scrimmage. And Franklin's good, but he's also in a very crazy scenario where you don't know who's going to get what share of what. That is a messy committee mindset coach in Sean Payton where you have no idea what's going to happen. You have no idea.
Isn't that what we thought of the Texans wide receiver room was last year, though? Because we didn't really know who Nico Collins was until we were down the stretch.
But
we didn't
but
know
Stroud
who the
throws
wide receiver
enough.
one was.
But Stroud throws enough that he can feed both of them beautifully, and I'm not worried about it at all. It's just different scenarios. I mean, could you liken one thing to another a little bit, like just in terms of the ambiguity or obscurity of something? Sure, but like this is not the same situation. Stroud is absolutely miles ahead of where Bo Nix is, miles ahead of where Caleb's probably ever going to be. And that's my opinion. And so they're just not comparable situations. They're not apples to apples.
That's what you thought about him, like before he went onto an NFL field?
Who?
Stroud?
Oh, I didn't like him as much as I like him now, but I mean, we had huge Texans predictions. You know, Texans were going to be the new Detroit Lions, so clearly I liked him. Honestly, he's way outperformed my expectation, especially his first year. But no, the Texans were the next Lions, next Bengals. We talked about D'Amico and Caserio, one of the most amazing GMs in the league, and what he's able to accomplish. And we didn't know if it would happen in year one, that's for sure. But they're certainly set up for success. You know, whether it was Bryce Young or Stroud or some debate there, even in my mind, you know, walking into the draft, doesn't mean that they weren't both going to be good QBs. Not to mention, like I said, scenario-wise, you know, we talked so much about Houston turning heads on everybody. And they did. They did way more than I thought they would, though. But definitely loved Houston. Houston, Detroit, Cincinnati, those all, in my opinion, had the same blueprint of turning the organization around in rapid fashion, just like I feel the Washington Commanders will do, just like I feel the Colts are going to be unreal. I think they're definitely a few teams that have that appeal. The Falcons, I'd say the Falcons and the Commanders and the Colts are going to turn heads this year. And I think a lot of people expect the Colts to be good, but I think, and a lot of people like the Falcons, but there's still a lot of people that don't understand how good they are. A lot of PTSD involved. A lot of people think, oh, they don't throw to their tight ends as if it's the same situation. Oh, they're going to misuse Bijan. That whole Algier report, I love it. I can't believe I can't believe that there are like 10 or 15 reports that come out back to back that say, we're going to feed Bijan. We're going to give Bijan more work than he can handle. He's a running back more than he's anything. He needs to get work, but sure, he's going to catch football after football. He's a monster. And then one report, probably order of questioning by the reporter. I don't even know how it came up, but it was, hey, you know, Algier, what's going on with him? Oh, he's gonna have a nice role. Oh, Smitty, did you hear that Bijan's losing half his job? Like, what do people need to hear all off season long about Bijan over and over and over? You hear one small thing about how Algier still exists. He still breathes air, and everybody's running for the hills. I love it. I hope it continues. All right, I got to go, Sebastian. I got to hang up. I appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, have a good night.
Later. Someone just hung up here on the phone line. It was like a warehouse Will or whatever it was. Will, I don't know, or whatever your name was. Appreciate you. Sorry you hung up. I'll see you all later. Bijan to the moon. Keon Coleman to the moon. Aiyuk will probably have some news tomorrow. We'll see you all later. Appreciate you.
I'm watching the stream.
You sound like Patrick Mahomes, bro. Is this Pat?
Dude, I've heard this before.
Hold on. Say this is Patrick Mahomes. You're watching the Fantasy Football Show.
This is Patrick Mahomes. You're watching the Fantasy Football Show.
Yes!
He's Kyron, he's 7 feet tall, and he knows how to handle a ball. He's Kyron, he can take frowns and turn them upside down with his touchdowns.
Legend has it if you say St. Brown 3 times in the dark in the bathroom, you will immediately lose your league.
Live Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, every single Monday through Friday. Live when big news breaks, additionally, and also live most midnights like this to draft with all of you. Appreciate you all. See you later.